Hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. I'm Luce, playing Coda Blue here, and I'm going to be doing the 7.1 story tonight. A royal invitation. Bulwark is eager to hear how we've been getting on. It's a pleasure as always, Coda. Have you been able to relax lately? Yeah, sounds about right. I was getting my ass kicked by Byakko Unreal earlier today, but yeah, I'm doing fine otherwise. Wonderful. As busy you've been, with the right of succession among other things, you deserve an opportunity to experience Tulliola at a more reasonable, leisurely pace. Sampling the tacos, this is the one such way to do so. They made the traditional way and laden with fillings, and absolutely sublime. If you have an empty stomach, the owner will look after you. Oh, right, the master quest hasn't, role quest hasn't been added yet. I guess we'll have to find out the secrets behind the passage of the Unbound later. And yeah, unfortunately, for better or for worse, I am aware that the story has been giving everyone mixed feelings, including me. So I just want to get that out of the way right now. I've had a lot of mixed feelings on the main story. The patch storyline's likely not going to be too different because, well, it's already been written. I know a lot of the fan base likes to act like the story gets done like 10 minutes before they release the patch, but in reality, all this was done probably while Endwalker was still in the halfway done, if we're honest. So, if we're not going to see any change for a bit. Granted, there's plenty of stories in the game where the quality between the main story and the patch storyline varies a lot. So, rest assured I'm gonna give it a shot. Bulbs and Coda alone today, are you? I mean, I've got my minion with me. Does that count? I see, if you're anchored for tacos, then they're on the house. Take as a total of gratitude for your help in tracking down those treasures. Go ahead and find a table. I'll bring your meal as soon as it's ready. Do I get to actually choose one, or yeah? The Passage of the Unbound. Alright, they came in to discuss their evil doings and then didn't even order any food. Those bastards! Empty seat. I guess I'll just take this one then. You still love tacos, I hope. You ate so many when you turned 5, I could barely move afterwards. Remember that? Not really. That was 30 years ago for me. Interesting. Oh yeah, they said years rather than moons, or yeah, usually they use a different term for years. Right, sorry, it's still strange for me too. The other day you were a little boy clinging to your mother's skirt when you set off full of your salami, and now you're a grown man with a face full of hair. Even so, I knew you were my son the moment I saw you. We're still family, you can always rely on me. Lying. That feels like the only thing I'm doing now, and you and everyone else. I can't even start a fire without assistance from my new job. Back in Alexandria, we had Electrope. If I needed fire, or all I had to do was press a button. Everything was at our fingertips, but I'm helpless. A culinarian who can't even light a stove. The way the others at the kitchen stared at me. Gosh, I never felt so embarrassed. Well, I mean, if you dropped a computer programmer in the middle of, ancient, what's a good ancient medieval place? Like medieval France or something? They might find trouble working jobs that are common sense there. They've effectively been isekai'd after all. Sorry to hear that. I've been told the tale seems life really is different within the dome. My wife and children. I was thinking I'd have to join them once things had settled, but at this rate, I'd say you should send for them. If they're your family, they're mine too, and I'll do whatever's necessary to make it work. I didn't mean to overhear, but it seems you're having trouble readjusting to life in Tyrol. Wow, Woklama. To aid folk like yourself, they've established a support group of the Wing of Reflection. There you can learn the skills you need to live outside the dome. It isn't easy being back, I know, but I'm hopeful they could make things a little easier. Oh, I'm glad I guess that makes sense, yeah. Ooh, I'm not sure why my avatar is twitching like that. moving at all. Weird. Exactly what I need. I definitely seek the support, Brooke, and I'll bring my family with me. Oh, good it is. I was just about to go and find you, Coda. You don't mind the company? I hope I could use the IT myself. I suppose to address the elephant in the room, I actually have no problems with Wuklamot herself. It's mostly just that the story revolves around her to the point that it takes screen time away from other characters. And I don't just mean the player character, I mean others who are supposedly main characters like Aaron Vell and Kryle and such. Taco's here never disappoint. So what have you been up to lately? Exploring Dawntrail, my trusty place, catching up on sleep, working to recover some stolen artifacts. I've been making a name for myself, the Arcadian. I'm guessing these two only came up because I've been doing the role quests as well as the Arcadian raids. They probably don't show up otherwise. See how she feels about this one. Your opponent's fighting in the arena Alexandria. By facing off against tough opponents, I'd wager you've honed your skills even further. As for myself, I've kept busy with duties of the palace, but whenever I find a moment, I do like to walk the streets and talk to people. Yeah, from the start, it seemed like each of the claimants had a different thing going for them as a leadership, but none of them were sufficient, and I'm guessing that's why Wook decided to go with Kona as the remaining two after the other two dropped out. But I think what Gulol was hoping for was that they'd all end up working together in different ways, because Kana had helped accelerate. That's what the word I was looking for. Accelerate the technology to improve everyone's quality of life. Wuklamot is the charismatic one who's good with people on the individual basis, and Jajul. I never get his name right, so I'm intentionally getting it wrong. I know it's Soralja, but I'm getting it wrong intentionally. Yeah, that's just my thing now, I guess. He was supposed to be the one leading the military in combat. That's it. Unfortunately, the events prevented that from working out. That way I can better understand the problems they have and share them with Kana to figure out solutions. Luckily, it seems Kana at least has a good silver tongue when it comes to politics, so they should still be able to get this going, but nonetheless, it is a shame that things went the way it did. Kind of. Sort of. You know, the A rank in Kozamuka is actually Zoralja's pet that he was abusing for the sake of training himself. I am not even joking. Talk to the Huntmaster there, and he explains that the bird was once his pet, and that explains why it's so pissed off, and also how it got so strong. I'm once... Well, check it now. I'm hoping to find you. Kana and I have something to discuss as Dawn servants. Do you have time to come to the palace? I suppose so, yes. I'll go on ahead. Please come and join us once you finished here. I must say, I'm surprised I never got into the hunt sooner. Frankly, this has been a really good way for me to, get gear done up and stuff like that. And when I ran out of things to buy there, I just started buying materia and selling that because there's usually always a demand for that, so pretty good money. Of course, now that they added the upgrade materials for the Captain's Tombstone gear, I need to focus on that. But I'm slowly getting up. As you can see, I still main Reaper. I redid my glam a bit. I have seen the new EX trial weapons. They're all pretty neat, but I do wish they had more laser blades. Like, one of the reasons I like the Manderville scythe, the Endwalker Relic scythe so much is, well, first of all, it's not an massive edgelord scythe like most of them, but it also, the actual blade itself is energy, which I think is really cool. All the weapons with blades on them, the blade itself is energy, including the Red Mage weapon, which is pretty cool. I prefer Red Mage swords that are actual swords rather than needles and such, so works for me. Yeah. We are. And yes, I'm aware that a lot of people consider Reaper to be underpowered or underperforming in high-end content. Unfortunately, that's a matter of standards, because I'm not saying they're wrong, it's just that they're used to a game like this where even a few percentage off adds up, which is not wrong, but my standards are a bit skewed because I've played games where underperforming can mean a job is like 30% weaker than the alternative. So I'm a lot more, I'm running on different standards. So again, they're not wrong, it's just that we're all running on different standards. Seems Kana's gone somewhere. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kana's definitely one I was hoping we'd see more of this time around. Like I said, I do like Wuklamot herself. I just think her screen time was at the expense of others introduced in Dawntrail that would have been nice to have some more screen time. I can get that she's effectively the main character, but a story can still be way too main character-centric. Master Kodo, it's always an honor. Kana has stepped away to attend a pressing matter, but he'll join you before long. Actually, let me think I can think of an example off the top of my head. Like, ever played, you know Roy from Smash Brothers? He actually has a game. Fire Emblem The Binding Blade. And I have played through all of the Fire Emblem games except Engage, and his stands out to me as a particularly noteworthy one in that the story is entirely about Roy. Yeah, like the famous Hector death scene, that really only existed so that Roy would now take control of the Lycian League. The whole attack on Etruria by the main villain, again, that was entirely to get Etruria on Roy's side and have him lead them. The entire story revolves around Roy. I do like Roy as a character, but the fact it revolves around him to the expense of all others, including ones like Guinevere and Lilina, who could also reasonably be considered major characters, they basically get shoved out, honestly. I can understand Lilina being pushed to the side because she's a random character who can die and they didn't want to have to rewrite the story accounting for that. And I guess that was before they invented the okay, 2 injured to continue, even though they've totally done that in previous games. But Guinevere is absolutely, they should have been playable in that game. She's brother to the main villain. Her main villain's her brother. You'd think she'd be a bit more important, or at least playable. Well, Master Code, always an honor. Okay. Sorry, I keep going on unrelated tangents. But if it makes you feel any better, I know nobody watches this early, and so no one will catch it. Oh wait, they can watch the VODs. Shit! Though I wonder, maybe I should have what some streamers do and have one of those 5-minute starting soons. I'll look into it. For now, let's continue on. I guess that's probably another elephant in the room to bring up. While I don't mind the Scions showing up, I do think the story kind of bent itself over backwards just to ensure that they would all be present when they didn't have to be. I'm perfectly fine with them. Now, I know some people have said to just kill them all off, but if that's their opinion, I'm fine with that. But I am thinking, if they don't want to kill anyone, or they were worried it might end up like a pointless death, like some of the ones in Heaven's Ward, that's fine. They can leave them alive, but they need to at least rotate them out. That would have a few in this expansion, a few in the next, rather than forcing them all to just reappear. That would be my personal opinion. That way, none of them really get too much screen time and can allow the newer characters to be there without having to have them take all of the story attention. No. Oh, you're all here too? Val Kana summoned us. Though truth be told, Alpha and Obai have been seeing him quite regularly as of late. He asked us to share our knowledge of Hanish culture, you see, in hopes of further strengthening your alliance. We're happy to oblige him. Yeah, like I said, Kana has been hinted at be quite the shrewd negotiator. Kral and I were likewise summoned. Otherwise, we've been carrying on with our work, compiling information on the Golden City. My grandfather embarked on his investigation 20 years ago. With our report, we shall finish what he has started. Yeah, Kral was the one in... Yeah, I've mentioned a few times that I was disappointed that Kral basically had her entire arc off-screen, and that's largely because Kral was mostly one of the background scions helping with clerk work and stuff, like with Tataru. This is fine. I mean, they had Tataru try to do other stuff and decide that she's best for clerk work, but Kral they didn't really do much of anything with except for Eureka's storyline, and that was back in Stormblood. So having her take front and center finally felt like it would be a nice way to utilize a character they haven't done anything with. Which is why I was so disappointed when she really just gets that one scene at the end of the main story, and otherwise she just goes, oh, by the way, since I had my major character revelation off-screen here, a shame you missed it, we can now use this to move the main plot forward. I can get... Lest you wonder, Thancred, Yora, and Jay have left to resume their tour of Tyrol. That's fine, we don't need to have everyone here. Shola, meanwhile, is back to researching cross-rift travel. She was just here a few days ago with Koana's permission to investigate the living memory. By the way, she mentioned wanting to take a look at the key you're keeping at some point. I don't mind sharing it, but it's a tool of Azem, so I need to figure out what it is. What was my past self up to? If she had the look in her... If the look she had in her eyes was any indication, I suggest you brace yourself when she comes calling. You're likely to be stuck with her a while. Not sure if want, I think is the meme that goes here best. As for Astinian, neither we nor know where he is nor what he's doing. Some things never change. Yeah, honestly, I think Astinian was handled best in this expansion simply because they didn't feel like they forced a reason to be here. Or he just was basically on his own adventure, and we just said hi whenever and worked together whenever it was mutually convenient. It was a bit, yeah, timing was a bit there, but I mean, it's not like he doesn't have a good reason to be here after he's followed us to the ends of the rest of the world. No. Some even suggested we might fight him in the Arcadian later. Wouldn't that be fun? I did mention I would have liked having a boss fight against other scions, just for... Not with the world at stake, just for plain fun. My apologies for the delay. Okana, I was hoping we'd see some more of you. Think nothing of it, we took advantage of the time to catch up. So what can we do for you? Hopefully present company is enough for whatever you need. The matter for which I've summoned you pertains to Alexandria. Yeah, with all their leaders gone, Tuliol's gonna have to take control of it. A state funeral will soon be held in Solution 9 to mourn the passing. King Galulja and his administration invited us to attend. Yeah, that's another thing to hate Zaralja. Wait, I need to get it wrong in a funny way. Zajulja. His last act was to dump all of his debts, responsibilities, and work on his son, whom he never even visited. Wow, the asshole really is Virgil from Devil May Cry, isn't he? While certain issues remain unresolved between our nations, so there's the treatment of Yusilani, I see no reason not to attend. For generations, the Alexandria lived without even the awareness of death. I wouldn't have expected them to have funeral rites still. Apparently, the members of Oblivion unearthed records of ceremonies conducted in the Alexandria of old, as it was they who put forth the proposal the Queen be thus honored. Yeah, the whole point of Sphne's plan was to become an artificial god to destroy the very concept of death itself. An idea that sounds great on the surface, but the more you think about it, the more you realize that's unsustainable. Then again, I guess that's kind of the whole thing there. Her plan was destined to fail, regardless of player involvement. It's just that she's a bit too dangerous to let her plan crash and burn. We had to stop it to prevent the problems leading up to it. Leave it to that lot to think of such things. The people of Alexandria no longer forget the departed. They're being confronted with the idea for the death the first time. I suspect our friends want to do something for them. Though Sphene was but a simulacrum, she was nonetheless a pillar for her people. The pain of her passing must run deep. Yeah, there's a lot. I'm surprised at how many discussions there are about whether or not the Endless were truly alive or not. I can kind of get it, kind of like in the way is a clone person the exact same as the original? If you sleep with a copy of yourself, well, is that gay or masturbation? I suppose all that matters though is that she thinks that she was the real Sphene, and following her orders is the real Sphene, and that's all that mattered. So that's why, yeah, I saw defeating her as an important job to do, I guess would be the best way to put it. I guess when I played through Living Memory, my take was that I saw it as basically your memories of loved ones being fed into Chat GPT and it copying them. Sure, it could feel nice and perhaps even give some degree of closure you couldn't before, but I didn't exactly interpret them as alive in the proper sense, especially since the servers were shutting down and having trouble keeping them all active even before we started doing it ourselves. And of course, the story for the Stray Bro Dead Rock made it clear we can't just let the servers run until they run out of power. It's just going to cause problems. Indeed, a funeral will give the Alexanders a chance to come together to express grief. They might overcome it. I wasn't sure at first, but I decided to go. Not only there for Galul, but to put this chapter behind us. Like I said, the big thing Woklamat has going for her is her charisma with the people, and we need that now more than ever. Galul may officially be their leader right now, but he's a child, like I said. And when his father died, he basically dumped all debts and responsibilities onto his sons, so I guess we'll see how that goes about. That I requested your presence was none other to see if you wish to attend the funeral. You knew Sphene rather well, after all. Honestly, I don't care what anyone says. I genuinely thought Sphene... Well, I was kind of the one that killed her. But I don't care what anyone says. I do think Sphene worked well as a villain. And she wasn't evil, but her plan would have been bad. But she also was determined. I admit I was kind of on the fence for a while, but I think the ending, in the fight where she restores herself just to tell everyone, no, I'm not going to let you stop me, I will save my people. That kind of, it made me just flip over and decide, yeah, I do like her as a villain. Because I was wondering, alright, is she gonna do the thing where she goes, save me from myself, stop my terrible plan or something like this, since the whole reason she suppressed her, tried to erase her memories, which, by the way, that was because of she was able to partially restore, in part because of what we did in the Alexandria simulacrum. I didn't realize that until someone pointed out to me. Dang. And it's so easy to miss, too. Then again, there's a lot of things to miss. Did you know Alexandria has 2 maps listed as her X, but the last one is my blank? I think it's because it's supposed to be from the perspective of the Endless Sphene. She was compelled to do because of her programming, but at the same time, she clearly had a love for her people that extended to wanting to protect them even from the very concept of death itself. Sometimes I wonder if there wasn't another way. I do respect her as a villain, but you and me both, but the choices we make are responsible. But we made our choices and are responsible for what comes of them. As vow, I will attend in official capacity. I owe it to the Alexandria people to bear witness to their grief. If you'd like, I'd like it if you could be there to watch over everything, like you did with the Rite of Succession. But I do get it. Thing is, after I beat the main Dawntrail storyline, I lost someone I looked up to. I genuinely looked up to. Uh, And since I said, like I said, I ended up liking Sphene in the end, I started... okay, maybe Sphene did nothing wrong after all. That's for sure. But I'm glad I did the Dawntrail story before that happened, because the gondola ride with Graha would have absolutely destroyed me if that person had passed away before I saw it. Because the entire thing is, well, it's not exactly an original speech or anything. Plenty of other games have done the similar discussion. It still hits hard, you know, because well, things are never the same afterward. I feel the rest of us should go as well. Regardless of our reason, the fact remains we deprived Alexandria of a beloved ruler. It's only right that we remember who Sphene was, to her people and others, so let us stand with you. I also admit the job I'm playing does, to an extent, reflect my outlook on things. Like, I think I mentioned... As Reaper, I felt like I was restoring the balance of life and death there. While as Dark Knight, I'd probably be thinking more about that justice needs to be done, and things like that. It's decided. We shall head to Solution 9, look for Little John in the back room. Hopefully not the back rooms. I still haven't played that, so I wouldn't know how to deal with it. I get lost even in regular or small back rooms. This crossroads. Right. I do like that the loading screens have started having the patch name in them for the stories. Obviously, though I would ideally attend the funeral, given the circumstances, I think that Beth Lamati represents us. Besides, I need to go be on hand to oversee the city's repairs, which is taking longer than expected. When work is complete, we can finally look into installing new thrones, but to have Father's throne here still, it makes me feel like he's close by. I'm quite happy for it to remain a little while longer. I've seen some poke fun out Endwalker was about how dying is bad and Dawntrail being about how dying is good, but I think that's kind of dumb, honestly. I do get you need to be able, you have to shorthand storylines and descriptions, but there is a point where you're boiling it down to such a minute detail. How can I put this? There is a point where if you shorten it too much, you're being straight up disingenuous about what it's actually about. Did you know that the original Deus Ex 1 is about helping a terrorist group to just completely obliterate the very concepts and foundations of the technology? Technically speaking, that is 100% true. It just removes all nuance, the point that the story is completely different. Actually, it's kind of like, yeah. Let's just say I've been on the internet long enough that there's no way you can't, I've found out that it's impossible to have a story that you are unable to spin in a way that makes it sound horrible, no matter how good it actually is. Or maybe we'll go with the original Star Wars New Hope. A random farmhand he blows up entire galactic empire, or with space magic. Put it that way, it sounds really stupid and like it's done without effort. I'm sure people more skilled than me could do an even better job, but you get what I'm getting at. My point is, you can lie while telling the truth. Isn't that funny? Have you ever heard of Rodin Consortium? I absolutely can't stand that lot. That's why I gave the next arcade a wide berth. Even the residential district's too close for me, like, can I just crash here? Good of you to come. We're expecting a large attendance at the funeral. The venue isn't likely to hold everyone at once, but the altar will remain for those who will be present during the ceremony. We ourselves plan to go and pay our respects afterwards. Glad to see the invitation reached you. As you may have heard, we were able to find data on our forgotten funeral customs amidst old records. It appears they've been preserved by those who rue the loss of culture due to the proliferation of regulators. We are grateful for foresight. Yeah. This is why it's good, even with the convenience of digital means, that it's nice to have written records and stuff just for backups and such. It's kind of funny. Electrope is really good, but that's primarily because it converts lightning energy into any other element, which is huge for creation of other things. Truth be told, I don't actually think Electrope is more advanced than, say, what the technology the Laportes use. It's just that it's convenient for a world that's basically nothing but lightning, which is basically the case under the dome. Obviously, it was really good when attacking Tuliolol, but I mean, that's a surprise attack. A lot of things are going to do well as long as... A lot of things are going to do well in that situation. Hello, Galul. Sorry about your asshole dad. And sorry about killing him. Ah, you came to the funeral. Well, of course. I'm the only one who will officially take part, though. The others are here to watch over it. Proceedings. So how have you been? It's been a while since my last visit. I'm good. Shayla's always teaching me new things. Recently, I've learned about Everkeep systems and mechanical soldiers. It's knowledge I'll need to use for my authority properly. Studious as always, I see. By way of a treat, I brought you gâteau au chocolat. It's kind of cake. I think you'll like it. Oh, thank you. And thank you all for coming. I've never been to a funeral before, so I feel a lot less nervous having you here. I just got here. Sorry about your asshole, Dad. Well, oh, and for killing him. Don't forget, Galulja's father here was an asshole, and also the player was the one who killed him, so, there's a lot of awkwardness here. Out of curiosity, hey, what are the customs here in Alexandria? In our world, it's common to offer flowers to the departed. It's much the same here, according to records. Flowers should be distributed among the attendees. Well, that's lovely. Considering that all the worlds used to be one, the practice of offering flowers may well share the same ancient origin. Fascinating, would you say? It must have been yeah, I guess in that case it might have been a practice among the ancients when someone returned to the life stream, and from there, or it spread even after a split. I do like my new outfit, that's for sure. Might as well get some food that can be used during the... Galul has been added to the Codex. Tyrol, unending Codex. For the people to take on themselves to organize and hold the funeral, it speaks their enduring love for Sphene. What a relief to see Galulja's doing well. He's been through far too much for one so young. From a group that plotted to undermine a tyrant king from the shadows to aid their citizens in the open, Oblivion has certainly come a long way. Although I've been in the back room before, there was no time to see the sights. I should like to take a closer look at this equipment. Pop always said he didn't want a somber funeral, so we celebrated his life together with our victory. I'm sure he would have loved it. I'd like to think he's watching us in the world beyond, filling his cup every time we filled our own. Alexandria mourns. With the flowers are being handed out at Praxis Park, I'm thinking of heading over there now. We'll join you. There's a man I'd like to speak with, Galston. He was apparently Sphene's aide and the one who sent us the invitation. Come, let us go. I must say, I've been doing a lot of things lately I didn't expect. I mean, I didn't win, but I did Unreal fights for the first time. Forgot how much fun Byakko EX was. I did that content when it was new, so being able to do it with my new main feels well, no, I wasn't actually. I was doing it on my tanks, but who cares, right? Yeah, sadly, DPS still have the issue that they fill up extraordinarily quickly, so I have to have a tank or healer or something non-DPS ready for fights like that. Resolution, there we are. Yeah, I do like my new outfit. It's basically military uniform mixed with my previous outfit, so it feels like it's at home in an official capacity as well as in a casual setting. It makes sense that Sphene had loyal aid to Golson, given how much time she dedicated to walk among her people. Woklamad's attempts will surely help strengthen relations between the two nations. Think of the strong pressure both Tuliol and Alexandria wish to push this tragic past behind them. Yeah, but the thing is, we still have to deal with the ones who created Sphene in the first place, because we know they are still around. Here he is. This is Golson. All correspondence was being handled by the Ring of Reflection, so this is my first time speaking with Golson. Judging from all the activity, I presume the funeral is going to be held here. While it appears souls are still being issued, supply must be limited now they're no longer being harvested. The grim face is in the queue, tell the tale. Yeah, using souls as a fossil fuel source and having their minds manipulated by their very leaders is probably something that it's good we stopped. Although I do kind of wish they didn't just gloss over that, because the story itself kind of just dismisses that all, it's just another culture. I mean, I guess I can kind of get it for this fossil fuel souls thing, but at the same time, the blatantly manipulating the population's memories is probably not something we should have just dismissed like that. I get the theme was culture clash but there needed to be more of it, I guess is what I'm saying. I can't imagine there's too many that would fundamentally agree with something like that. Oh, why, I'm Val Woklamad of Tuliolol. Thank you for extending us an invitation to Queen Sphene's funeral. We are honored, truly. I had seen you before from a distance, but never had the pleasure. I'm Golson, former chief aide of the Queen. Since her passing, I've been responsible for the administrating affairs. Yeah, since the Gol's just a kid, the administration's going to have to do most of the work. Can we get our flowers here? Oh, yes, Your Majesty. The flowers are being handed out at the counter yonder, alongside the regulators. What? We need to wear regulators for the funeral? Assuredly, they're not a requirement. Aware your people do not use them. You see, the people of Alexandria of old wore tokens of mourning upon their person when attending funerals, as such tokens were black. I would suggest we might wear the regulars painted the same color. We've yet to produce enough for everyone, but we're distributing them as able. Let's see. Is this how they make a cosmetic regulator? Because those do look cool, but you know, actually, just now that I think about it, maybe I'm being too nice by saying that soul fuel is a good idea, because, yeah, the way using souls as fuel means they don't get put into the life stream like they're supposed to, and by extension, that means life can't be restored later, so yeah, maybe some things shouldn't just be written off as cultural differences. Yeah, regular no. The important thing is we remember Queen Sphene. Remember kindness and offering of your flower. I will. Proceedings will soon begin in the plaza. Please take your place when you have your flower. Yeah, I still do like Sphene as a villain. I'll also say that her final boss fight is one of only 2 in the entire game that I had to, the party I was with had to wipe and retry. Stormblood's final boss and hers are the only 2 where I had to do a retry with the party. Yes, even the one for Shadowbringers, my party beat it all first try. Now, I don't remember. It's possible I might have died, but I do know for a fact we didn't wipe because I remember the wipes.
Although we are gathered here for the same reason, we hail from different lands. Some were born and raised in the Alexandria of old, while others came to us from Tuliolal. It was from this union of diverse peoples that a new Alexandria was born. the only home that our younger generation knows. How did we overcome the barriers between us? What moved us to join hands in common purpose beneath crackling skies? You know the answer. We survived. We thrived because Queen Sphene brought us together. Inspired and encouraged by her boundless kindness, we strove to be better, for ourselves as well as those around us. And in Her Majesty's absence, there is a sadness beyond words. Yet we must. We will remember her. Remember all the good that she has done for us. So let us pray, as the people of the Old Kingdom once did, for the peaceful repose of the departed. And let us keep our beloved Queen forever in our hearts, that her memory might guide us unto the morrow. Would that I could find solace in my own words.
This reminds me, I do appreciate they've been doing a lot more with mocap to cutscenes in the game. I don't know how to put into words, but it really does feel nice seeing them actually hand the items over.
Was Queen Sphene taken to the cloud?
She must have been. To still remember her is strange, isn't it, darling?
I miss her. She would always cheer me up when I was down. But even though I remember her, I'll never see her again. That doesn't make sense.
And previously, everyone who had a quick recap, and everyone in Alexandria who had died would have their memories uploaded into the cloud, living memory, which would then have all the memories taken from everyone wearing a regulator, which would allow them to be recreated as an endless. That's why I usually interpret it. That's why I said when I went to living memory, I interpret them as kind of memories put into Chat GPT to try and emulate a dead loved one. But that also means that the people basically didn't even know the concept of death. Anyone who died, they straight forget. It's more or less. That way they wouldn't think about death or have to suffer the pain of those who have fallen, but nor would they have to, nor would they theoretically suffer being dead, since the idea was they'd continue living on as an endless.
It seems that's what it means to die, I'm afraid.
But what will happen to us? Are we just going to be sad forever?
What will happen indeed? Everything that we have, we owe to Queen Sphene. How are we to go on without her?
Yeah, since Sphene herself was an endless, she was their queen for countless years. Even the full-grown adults don't exactly understand the concept of death right now.
I still remember Her Majesty so clearly. If only I didn't, I might feel better about the future of our realm.
Perhaps we should also consider moving to Tuliolo. The journey won't be easy, but it'd be better than staying here in uncertainty.
Things can never be the same after losing someone important to you, but that doesn't change that life must move on.
In times like these, I take comfort in the beliefs of a Turali people called the Yokui. To them, death isn't the end. So long as we're remembered, we never truly die. It could be the same for Queen Sphene, you know? If you keep her alive in your hearts, she'll always be with you.
But we still won't be able to see her, right? I don't want to think about that. I wish I could just forget instead of having to feel like this.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to impose. Please, mourn your queen however you see fit. As expected, they struggle to come to terms with their loss. I hope they can find a way to move forward.
It's not only grief that weighs on them, but worry for the future. Bereft of their queen, how will they proceed?
True. But with that at least, we're not powerless to help. What is it, Guloja?
I was wondering, is it better to remember or forget someone when they're dead? I remember my father, and every time I think of him, it hurts. It's the same with Queen Sphene. Knowing that she's gone makes me feel sad. But it's different with my mother. I never knew her, so I don't feel as bad.
They never did explain who Galulja's mother is, but granted, this is an issue fiction in general has. Whenever only one parent is relevant, they sometimes just straight up don't even mention the other one.
I want to remember my father, but maybe I'd be better off forgetting him.
Guloja.
Why don't we continue this somewhere else?
We certainly stand out among this group. those devices. I have grown quite wary of them, that's for sure. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up. If it's easier to let something out, you should, I think. Keeping it bottled up just means it's gonna boil over later, and I say that from experience. Simply leaving Alexandria won't solve all the problems, I fear. The problem is much deeper than that. This seems like a good place to continue our conversation. Seeing that child reminded me of myself, or how hard it was for me, except my grandfather was gone. But sadness is what gave me the strength to come this far, and never would choose to forgive that. Never. Forget that, never. Well, for the record, Alice, you didn't exactly have a choice but to remember that. These people theoretically had a choice before. I hope the altar can provide comfort to those who need it. Hey, Galilja, do you truly know nothing about your mother? Shale searched the system for information on residents, but only Mulja she found were my father and me. Even if she died and was erased from memory, she should have been listed there, but she wasn't. Well, that you're here means that she was here too, inside the dome. There cannot be any other way around it. Maybe he's a clone? Do you want to know your mother? I think so, even if it makes me feel sad. I wish to know her. I want to try looking again. Even if I don't find anything, I see, if that's what you want. Then I'll help you. I'd like to help as well. I believe I speak for the others as well. I guess it's easier than having everyone say I will too in order. Oh, but I can't bother you with this. You already came for the funeral. We came here not only for the funeral, but to see whether all was well in Alexandria. We're not about to leave yet. Besides, in seeking to learn about your mother, we're going to learn about your father as well. By retracing the steps of the man who kept his own counsel, we may gain knowledge that can serve the people of Alexandria. Alright, thank you, everyone. If this is what Galilja wants, I'll help him however we can. After all, we are family. In search of the past, Gra has an idea of how you may proceed with your investigation. Assuming neither memories nor records of Galilja's mother remain, we might cast as wide a net as possible. We must cast a net as wide a net as possible. We must split into groups. Coda, you make inquiries in the outskirts. The rest of us will do the same in Solution 9. I swear, it still sounds like London Bridge is falling down. I guess this is the point where I should point out there was a bunch of rebalances done in the 0.1 patch, but honestly, Reaper wasn't even touched. Guess I can't blame him. He can't mess with perfection. No reason to mess with perfection after all. Middle-aged. Sorry, but we've never heard of a Mulja woman living these parts, much less one connected to Zeralja. We might have better luck talking to people over at the settlement in Everkeep in Yoiwada. The resilient son won their loyalty when he saved them from some crisis or another, so the story goes. If I remember correctly, their chief's name was Analoka. Just taught you about Zeralja's devoted. Zujaja was definitely an interesting villain. It seemed his story was one they told without saying it, but that problem is this game is very known for spelling things out, so I don't blame a lot of people who failed to get what was going on. Basically, my take about him was that he saw himself as superior because everyone talked about, oh, he was the promised, miracle son, that he was destined for greatness, and that he was always the greatest, that he was going to mount something amazing, but he also had an inferiority complex because despite being told all that, nothing he ever did would ever be the same. Even his plans to conquer the worlds, to expand their borders, was basically just to unite for even more tribes than his father did. Anytime someone brought up, well, what about other nations who tried the same and crashed and burned? He's all, oh, that's nothing. I'll do it and I'll do it right, which is usually the sign that, yeah. Kana and Woklamad had issues that they were far too sheltered to properly understand the problems that were going on in the nation and to properly lead it. And Zhuzha was exactly the same. He just refused to accept it. He could not take failure well, despite always seeing a flaw in any of his victories. I mean, even when he found a supposedly legendary mythical creature, he just said, "Oh no, it's nothing special. It just to kneel down to my power like anything else. Nothing special about it." So that's why I say that nothing he ever did would have ever been enough. He'd have always said, "Oh no, this is not good enough." And why all of his goals were basically just, "I'll do what previous people did, but better." That's usually the sign that a person doesn't actually understand things and is just going with what makes sense. And sort of what they think would be good, would be impressive, rather than what... I'm a Mulja woman. The people have never been a common sight. Last time I saw would have been before the dome came over. Down above our heads, she was among an entourage of Landsguard that would dispatch. I assume they have all returned to Tuliolo after their mission. But if any remained, I suppose they could have been trapped in here with the rest of us. Oh yeah, it's summers, that's right. When people in Eorzea talk about years old, they usually say like 40 summers, 30 summers. But the fact that he said here years, that's actually quite unusual. Now let's see here. There's one I'm missing, and where is it? Here we are. I should probably do the regular quests around here. All my jobs are maxed out, so I don't really have a reason to, but you can use... There's decent... If you like lore things, and I usually do, it usually has some nice details as to how they live here and such. You're looking for a Mulja woman? Oh, Gululja's mother. I can't help you there, I'm afraid. I know very little about Zulja himself, and only what my father told me. He said before the dome cut us off from the outside world, the Tural Vidral had appeared and was terroring region. In response, Zulja assembled a party of warriors, and with them confronted and felled the beast. It was interesting to hear of the king's feat in the past. Battle with a Tural Vidral. Those are the Auspices. Which means defeating one was no small feat. I mean, like I said, I got my ass kicked by Byakko. It was unreal. Little battle. So clearly they're still no joke. Don't care about which solution I go to. Oh yeah, since the 0.1 patch, they've cut down the amount of instance areas. The earliest areas like Koza still have 3 instances, but pretty much all the later ones have been cut down to 2, and some like Living Memory just only have 1. So this also means that if you're like me and like to get all your weekly tomes done with the hunt trains, you can no longer do all of it in a single one. You now have to go with a couple. Perhaps for the best. I still need to get the upgrade materials for my gear after all. Oops, I ran right past something that would have teleported me to the spot I'd rather be right now. Well, whatever. Yeah, the new crafter gear is construction equipment with mech arms. It's really cool. Speaking of which, I actually found myself doing crafting quests. And I know, it's amazing. I did it just for the mounts before, but now I'm just checking out all the storylines from custom deliveries. And I'm even crafting my own GC turn-ins rather than just buying them off the market board. Isn't that something? Now, I'm not doing ones that are too expensive or too expensive mats or too annoying, but... And even then, it's not all of them, because it kind of tests my patience, if we're honest, but... Still, that's something I wasn't doing before. I guess in a way, having slept through Endwalker, in fact, I think I played more of Warcraft during that particular time. Means I have a lot to catch up on now, which is good because, well, these aren't the worst waits between patches before. I think Heavensward had the biggest one. Because I do know the Heavensward 1.1 patch was delayed a good while, so it was like 5 or 6 months before that, when it's usually a 3-month wait. Ah, you're back too. Tell Shale about your research. Zoraljah rarely made public appearances, though people had no idea how he spent the time. Yeah, I believe therein is the key to the answers we seek. Is it possible Galuljah here is actually a clone of some sort? I guess that would remove the need for a mother. I'm sorry, but I couldn't find anything useful. None of the people I questioned had heard of a Mamuljah woman before. Lamati didn't have much luck. How did you fare? When I failed to learn anything directly related to Galuljah's mother, I did find information that may shed light on Zoraljah. Galuljah has told me all. We previously tried to track down records of his mother, but came up empty-handed. With everyone's help, hopefully we can get this in time. Notes. Oh, I guess our character were scribbling some notes while doing this. I guess it makes sense. Ah, so you spoke with quite a few different people as well. Let's combine our findings, see what conclusions we might draw. So, Zoraljah brought a retinue of Landsguard to Yslani, along whom was a female, Mamuljah. His mission was to rid of a Tural Vidral, which I believe is safe to say that was the crisis Uyuwadada he resolved. If some of his troops stuck around, perhaps to assist the villagers with recovery, they could have indeed gotten trapped in the dome. We've also heard stories about the settlement in Uyuwada. The people there... if you're having trouble pronouncing any of the areas in this expansion... Well, now you know how I felt during Stormblood, because I cannot pronounce anything from Stormblood properly. Or at least not without the story mentioning it. But basically it's purely phonetic. People lived there until nearly a decade ago, and Zoraljah made regular visits. If he required secrecy, a location home to his most loyal followers would be ideal. And if this Mamuljah woman had remained there, they would have occasionally come in contact. I see, but what could Zoraljah have been doing in that village? Sleeping around? That's kind of the theory we're going with. I think we can answer that question. In order to retrace Zoraljah's footsteps, Raha and I spoke with a researcher who worked at Orogenics. He said approximately 20 years ago, a number of his colleagues were transferred to a research facility in Everkeep, as per the King's direct order. This is the first time I've heard of any such facility. Only Vanguard was believed to have been under the King's jurisdiction. It was apparently being used to develop a new kind of weapon, but I'm afraid that's all we could learn. Crap, we gotta find where he's hiding the weapons of mass destruction. It's plenty to go on. Even if the work there is classified, any materials and equipment needed would have been manufactured within Everkeep. So if you look into transportation records... Right, they need all those materials for crafting. And what do you know, I've been raising blacksmiths, so now I can make my own weapons of mass destruction. So long as they're level 70 or below. Ah, there it is. The routes are full of detours and attempts at obfuscation, but large deliveries were being made head to Uyuwada, far too large for a mere village. There hasn't been any activity for years. It's likely the facility's been decommissioned. Do you think that's where my mother was? We can't say for certain just yet, but I reckon there's a good chance. This is amazing. Even though no one remembers her, you managed to figure this all out. Sometimes you just need some good old-fashioned detective work. Every piece of the puzzle may reveal little on its own, but when we put several together, a picture begins to form. And should memories fade, footprints remain to mark the path of those who've walked before. A lesson I've learned in another life. I know some are disappointed that Graha acts completely differently here than he was when he was back in Shadowbringers. To an extent, it's because this version is his younger self, but I think it's also that he kind of wants to, well, like he said, he directly called that another life. He wants this to be a new life that he can go forward with. Hence why when he did that particular scene in Endwalker, I felt like it was a big deal, something he shouldn't have had to do. But it was necessary, of course. So we'll be investigating the secret facility in Uyuwada then. And this time I want you to come along, Galuljah. Oh, is he gonna be a Viper? It'd be nice to have... I'm gonna be going with the trusts, largely so that I can look at any lore stuff that's in there, but also to see what they say. Yuyawada's on the other side of the lake. To get there, you'll need to take a hover cargo from the Drift Downs. Thank you, Shale. Well, I'm glad it's not taking too long to get to the next area. Well then. And I guess I think I've gone on record as saying as the later half of the story is stronger than the first half, and I think I'd say that's because the first half of Dawntrail felt like several, they were called tribal quests, society quests. They're reputation grind quests where you learn about the particular faction you're working with there. But the problem with that is those are usually split up among the course of about a month, and they're usually a bit lighter than regular story stuff, so it felt like it was kind of dragged out in order to make it long enough for the story, but also like it was a bit light, because those are not heavy content. They're supposed to be a side thing you do alongside other things. They're just daily quests after all, daily reputation quests after all. No need to spend money, I suppose. This sugar glider took me well over a month to grind out, but it is worth it. It is adorable. It's not the biggest grind I've ever done, but it still feels pretty satisfying to finish. And believe me, this game has a decent mix of, oh, I'm glad that's over grind, and I'm finally done. Oh, I guess I'm finally done, yay, and I'm finally done, grind. And this was a finally done, yay, grind. I guess that's a good way to put it. Weapons developed in secret with the aid of devoted followers. Nothing good will have come of this. I wish I could have checked how many fates I grinded specifically for it, largely because, I don't know. I know I'm close to getting the final one for a metric assload of fates, but I don't know what I was before I started the grind. All I know is I completed all of the shared fates for all expansions, since I never did any of those before now. And even then, it took me a good part of a month of grinding damn near all day for several parts of the week. While we spoke with, remember, he had colleagues, he couldn't recall specific details, nor the names of what they were like. Likely ones who were forgotten due to the devices on their heads then. Some would have noticed if Zeralda traveled between drift towns. I expect he utilized a flying vehicle. We'll see how much has changed. For a part of Ysolani, on this side of the dome. We've seen how much has changed on this side of the dome. I wonder what it's like on the other. A settlement in the outskirts. I was originally at Onawada town, yes? I wonder if Ueyata is still to it. Weapons developed in secret, the aid of devoted followers. Nothing good will come of this. Yeah, there's no yeah, if he was keeping that under wraps, there's no way anything in there is going to be anything less than frustrating, let's just say. So the hover cargo will take us across the lake. I've never been over there before. It's still inside the dome, so don't expect to be too different from here. We'll likely encounter dangerous beasts. The rest of us will go first. You follow when it's safe. Alright? Alright, be careful, everyone. And here I was hoping Galul would join us as a Viper or something. This field station is now accessible. And of course, I'm going to be doing with trust so I can read any lore bits that come up, like I did Orjack. So Orjack was genuinely a pretty nice one to read through. Even if it was kind of messed up. Basically, the entire thousands of years worth of history of souls, and Zujolja just ate them all in order to actually gain enough power to actually stand a chance against us. And well, obviously that still wasn't enough because we won. They should be good for something. I'm gonna grab a sip of my drink and then dive right in. There we are. I can't help but be reminded of our own foray into orogenics and Koshua. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm good at hiding from beasts. I promise to look after Galul Jaw. We'll hardly spend any time with him. I'm gonna make up for that. While I alone haven't seen much of the Dome, I'm no stranger to braving the unknown. I will not slow us down. We've seen the havoc that Valley Garmonda wreaked upon Urkapaka. I wonder what this other Troll Vidrol might have left in its wake. If the facility was used to research new weaponry, then it ought to have tight security. Even if it's been closed down, let's proceed with caution. Aw, crap. Is this gonna be like the glow in Fallout 1? It's gonna be like the glow in Fallout 1, isn't it? Alrighty, let's see here.
I stand ever ready.
Yeah, let's go with this group. I'll be the Reaper for melee. Kryle will be the range Picto. Yeah, and as you can see from my title, I did get all my trusts up. I'm gonna say the summer outfits are pretty nice. Whoosh. Ueyawada Field Station. You know, to this day, speaking of names that I keep screwing up, to this day I still mix up ale port and wine port. Oh, I see why they need to have Wook come with us. It's because we need a tank here, and they wanted someone other than Graha. Lightning has not been here either. The creatures have been electrified. There are beasts here too. My father must have come here for a reason. Now, can I get Wook to carry more of these? She is a warrior, should theoretically be able to handle it, so let's see if she can do it. I'm sure this can't end badly for everyone involved.
Hold on.
Oh crap, I messed up my rotation already. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, one of the reasons I want to have Graha as a healer is I have experience playing tank to know that he can handle large pulls. So theoretically, he should be able to keep Wook alive even if I expedite her a bit.
Allow me.
Yeah, the damage is lower than with actual players, but that's fine. Now the question is, do I want to use another End Shroud on this, or should I just take my time to gather more End Shroud meters? Yeah, nice thing about Reaper is even when you're stuck with your filler 1-2-3 combo, it still feels like you're not too far away from your next End Shroud, or at least another Reaper or attack. The pale blue ones that eat red meter. There we are. Bolts can strike anywhere. Step lightly. Oh, whoops, I got turned around and went back to the, whoops. Oh, well. What matters is I managed to get us to double pull successfully. I guess I need to pay attention where Galulja is since he's always pointing the way next. Or I could just look at my map like a reasonable person. Now, there's no reason Wook can't carry all these, right? Yeah, it's so satisfying to do 2 end shrouds in a row.
Allow me.
Yeah, like I said, there was a bunch of job rebalances, but they didn't really change anything with Reaper, because you can't mess with perfection, baby. Or in this case, perfectio. Oopsie, didn't mean to hit that, but who cares? I can just get some extra healing. Right, I can't forget I have my weaving ability in this level. I've been doing... I actually did like the variant dungeon. I had some friends who ran it who warned me that it's always fun at first, but once you get to near the end of the endings, it starts to get... each one starts getting less fun, but I didn't think so. Then again, it could also be that I did on my main here, and Reaper just feels so satisfying. Am I going the right way? You did it! Yeah, I am. Not exactly a leisurely trek. That one looks mean, be careful. I guess we've stepped into its territory. Lindblom Zagnal. I can't exactly sit on my gluttony here, so... Wait, what's that? Is that Thunder of Renan? I damage your... It's pierced the pillar with its tusks. I need to get Perfectio in here. Ah, crap. It's not gonna make it. Ah, crap. There we are. There are many reasons I enjoy Reaper, and an emergency oh shit shield is one of them. I see an ad, so...
Let's just do it!
Sparking Fisher. Crap, I'm really screwing up my rotation bad. Oh well, the crew's not... My party isn't complaining, so I should not worry. Well, because I want to do good damage. I'm a DPS. Instead of brain, I have uptime. Crap, I'm just gonna have to eat the reduced damage for the additional. Here a little, yeah, there we are. A little less for Grahad after heal. There we are, it's dead. That could have been annoying. Anything good in here? Not really. Cap of maiming? Wait, I think that's... Is that one of the hats from Final Fantasy IX? Hold on. Is it one of the guard attires? Let's see here. I should probably just focus on the game here, but... Dryland Shroud. So the facility is still here. Yeah, these are the ruins of the old town, but now... This is it. What kind of research did they do here, I wonder? Let's see if I can get any screenshots of Alexandria from Google real quick. Maybe the guards will be here. Because I wonder, that hat looks like a military uniform almost. Is it a guard? I mean, it's not Steiner's, obviously, but... Maybe if the castle will help? No. Lots of good shots of Vivi standing in front of it, though. Interesting, interesting. Research note. Look at the front desk. Seems there's no clerk here. Oh, but that computer's still running. They must be getting free electricity. Free electricity, that's mine. While His Majesty Zeralja was not the first to conceive of transferring a beast's soul to a person's body, safety and ethical concerns have been ensured. No earnest attempts have been made to date, yet our king believes there's no greater evil than the inherit the potential of man, so he's ordered us to make this conception a reality, bolster our military might and break through the outside world. If our research will further this ambition, perhaps it was worth pursuing. So that explains why they were able to fuse with monsters for us in the story. Rotting Hound. Oh wow, that is rotting. Let's see if I can set the next right after me. Oh wow, this almost looks like something out of Remnant 2. Uh-oh.
Allow me.
Those are people, right? Ah, what are those? Those are people, right? They're moving!
No holding back!
Here we are. Sadly, I'm not a caster, so I should probably not use my limit break here. You know what, let's just use my... Yeah, let's use my end shroud here just to expedite this process. Yeah, I didn't kill them all. Yeah, a friend of mine who's done the squadron command missions, basically what was used as a prelude to Trust. Apparently, if you did it enough, you could actually stack up their stats high enough that they can go ridiculously fast, faster than a player party, which I guess they wanted to avoid with here. Hence why they do no but less damage. Still, it is nice. I can screw up my rotation as much as I want and nobody complains. Yeah, I do need to work on that. I'm sorry. Yeah, this looks like something out of Remnant 2. The people here... Are these people here dead, or are they just abandoned? They could even be corpses, actually. Given they were rotting and such, they could have already been dead, and their corpses were transported here for research rather than the usual corpse disposal method. That looks like an optical scanner, almost. In that case, I'm willing to bet none of us have... Well, Galul might have authority, but I'd rather not risk it. Oh wait, there were other research notes there I forgot to read. Yeah, here it is, research note. Yeah, this is why I wanted to go with NPCs there. Research note. Our bodies are fragile vessels. Although the infusion of another person's soul confers strength and vitality, the soul of a beast yields mixed results. Even when stripped of memories, a feral soul can induce psychological instability. I suspect this is because the primal instincts remain. And while a certain amount of bestial ferocity is expected, I dare say welcomed, too many can lead to physical mutations. For now, our objectives will be to determine the threshold beyond which a body is at risk of uncontrolled mutation. Alright, so this is the research that allowed, say, the Vanguard boss to have his ability transform into a serpent. Great Devourer. Was it that Yotsmongan? Weird. Giant. Alright, time to go. There we go. Look, I got you some buddies. Oh, nice. She's actually holding it at an ideal spot.
Hold on.
Perfectio. Let's see, wrong button, but I can work with it. Glass punch. I'm reminded of corpses from Morrowind, of all things. Yeah, they seem to like having one of these bigger enemies among the trash mobs here. I don't mind if they try to find a way to make the trash fights between the bosses a bit more interesting. I just want them to have more mechanics beyond an AoE here and there. You know what I mean? They were probably strapped to these beds before we came here and awakened them. They're kept here like prisoners, animals? Oh, but they might have, again, we don't know if these were corpses or living people that were taken. In search, if the source of a failure thus far is inability of our bodies to contain feral souls, what if we do the reverse? By purging a beast of memories and infusing it with a man's soul, one still possessed of its own memories, we stand to gain absolute control over the vessel of a great power. My subordinate who first proposed this brilliant hypothesis shall have the honor of being the first to transcend our meager limits. I must prepare his soul for extraction at once. Yeah, I think I was a bit too nice before. We really shouldn't be having souls as fossil fuels and just dismissing that as cultural differences. You want a necklace of that thing. What eye level are these anyway? 705? Yeah, that's even lower than the stuff you get from the Arcadian. Then again, dungeon gear has been glam gear and nothing more. Maiming gear usually shares a lot of appearances with tanks, so it's usually pretty armored, which makes sense since it has the highest defense, I think, of all armor. Let's check. 1702 versus the, no, mine's the highest upgrade. Neo Kingdom Healing, 1000. Neo King Scouting, yeah, mixed to Quetzalcoatl Fending, 50. No, that's Theogenic. Aiming. Striking. Yeah, so, yeah, striking. Yeah, striking, aiming, and scouting all have the same defensive stats, but as you can see, mine has a little more. So even though with the eye level difference, you can see that. There's something unsettling about the ether here. Overseer. Okay, now this guy definitely does look like something out of Remnant 2. Surrender your soul to King Zeralja. Mighty sorry, but he's dead. Come forth, my dear souls. I'm really missing a lot of damage here. Well, I needed to see the mechanic anyways. A dead DPS does 0 DPS, so... Oh my, he's really limiting my scope here. Scar the flesh, extract the soul. Ah, crap. Bloodthirst. Is that the... yeah, that's the party-wide. Okay. I don't have my mitigation up to mitigate that, but something to keep in mind, I suppose. Yeah, it looks like I got some major drifting going on. That is rather unfortunate. But I can't hold back. My Shroud is my main damage dealings. Dark Souls. Dang, can't escape the Souls likes even in MMO anymore. Would that we could tame the beast, but the seal is already... The seal? What beast? What was he talking about? Oh, don't worry. I have the feeling we're gonna find out soon. Very, very soon. Whether we want to or not. Is this a storm? Is that a... By the gods, what is that? Everything has been Final Fantasy IX themed so far. Does that mean we're gonna fight Lich or something? Sprightly stone. I'm sure Wook won't mind if I pull a little more.
Allow me.
I'm pretty sure there's a Spriggan in that stone, like there was way back in another dungeon, Anti-Tower, I think.
Something special for you. Allow me.
Crap, I must have let the debuff wear off. That's rather annoying. Actually, come to think of it, this reminds me more of Remnant 2, because remember, we dealt with a monster like that. Something's wrong, don't rush ahead. Don't worry, we literally can't. That roar, did it come from inside the storm? Quick tongue. We may soon face our fiercest foe yet. I highly doubt that, Grah. Or maybe he's just getting in on the adventure. Come on, Wook. I know you can do better than that. There we go. I knew you. See, I knew you could do it. Crap, I can't let my Death Stain drop. That's 10% damage lost if I don't. Yeah, I'm really doing horrible in this dungeon. I did way better in my variant dungeon run a bit ago. Hard to believe.
Hold on.
Here we are. Let's see who the boss is then. Is it the goddess from Remnant 2? What? Oh no! Troll Vidral Lupignati. Lupignati. It's the killer rabbit from Monty Python. Quick, maybe it's not too late to leave. Has that thing been sealed away all this time? A Troll Vidral, there's no doubt about it. I could have also made a comparison to Outriders, but let's be fair here. Even at its absolute worst, no matter how bad this game gets, it's never going to be as bad as that. Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming. Damn, I should have believed Graha when he said this was our fiercest foe yet. Ow. Okay, so it's a master of earthbending. Got it. There we are. Yeah, no wonder I should have believed when he warned. I was not expecting the killer rabbit of what's it called. Oh, this is a ruby weapon mechanic. Okay, I know this. It's a lot slower than a ruby weapon, but that's to be expected. This is just a dungeon. Oh my. I see what he's doing. Clever. Something tells me I don't want to be standing on that. Crater car. Oh, wow. Watch your step. Beastly roar. Well, at least they're all together. Normally I just spam my range attack, but that's the one thing. Oh crap, I should probably run. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. Pain. My shield up. Ah. Yeah, this is really bad. I was not expecting to lose half the damn arena.
This should do it!
Crap. Now I could wait. Or I could do Communio a little early. I lose a hit on that, but I'm losing a uptime anyways, because as you can see, this attack means I cannot wait. I'm glad they at least give me a mulligan and don't require me to use positionals while he's in this state. Blade Dance. I think that's an AoEs. I think that's a raid wide, so yeah, it's a raid wide, so yeah, free to limit break. I'm gonna help mitigate that a bit. Ow, ow, ow.
Just the beginning.
Whew. We did it. We beat the Monty Python Killer Rabbit. Haha. Yeah, I'd say that's worthy of the cheer emote. See here. Let's see here. The Killer Rabbit of Chernabonog. Oh crap, that's Gaelic, isn't it? If it is, I'm sorry. There's no way in hell I'm ever gonna be able to pronounce that. Coat of Aiming. Does it at least look nice? I guess it's alright. I'll have to see the double check the full sets. I have no use for this gear, for better or for worse, unfortunately. Oh, they're all the way on the other side there. The intrusive thoughts won! Didn't even bother killing me, it just brought me back up here. It's still breathing, if only faintly. Phew, we did it somehow. Galul, anything to say? Oh, it is still breathing. That was too close. It must have been easy to imprison such a creature. The Tyrant of Troll, truly a fitting description. Well, as long as we beat the I suppose it wouldn't be that easy to kill the Killer Rabbit of Chernabonog. Or whatever, how you pronounce it. Phew.
For all the talk of my brother felling this beast, he only imprisoned it, like Vali Armanda.
Yeah, but Vali Armanda was because their father couldn't find a way to actually kill it at the time. Here, it's because he wanted to experiment on it.
From what I could tell, they sought to transfer people's souls and memories into bestial vessels at that facility. The Tural Vidral explains the need for a remote location. It was doubtless their prime subject. Though I expect Zoralja did not foresee the opportunities it presented when he imprisoned the creature.
Well, like with Monster Hunter, we need to know when to finish it off and when to not. Because these would affect the environment around in some fashion. Ugh. Ah, the echo. Come. Let's see.
And so, in order to prevent the breakdown of the individual, I instead seek to transfer their soul into the body of the beast.
This would allow one to wield the power of a Tural Vidral.
In theory, our initial experiments will involve lesser creatures. But in time, I am confident we will be able to bring even the mightiest under our control.
And what becomes of those who offer their souls?
As they won't be able to return to their original forms, we must consider them lost. But the sacrifice will be worthwhile, for the army you stand to gain will far surpass any composed of mechanical soldiers.
Alright, so let's put the, So, Jaral here, let's count out the list of the ways in this way this man is an asshole. 1, he is a terrible father. 2, he invoked mad science. 3, he's a pet abuser. Alright. Oh. Yeah, I must say, they did a good job making him the most hateable villains. Well, one of them. Hard to say.
Very well. Recruit volunteers and begin at once.
Now the question is, did he intend to have quotation marks around volunteers?
Thank you, Your Majesty. I shall return to the observatory and see to the necessary preparations.
And that guy's the mad scientist that put his own apprentice in there.
So, you've given him permission?
Teshalja, you will assist Kaniloka.
Tishal.
As one of the Land's Guard's finest chirurgeons, your knowledge may be of use in his experiments. You will also watch him closely. In what you learn, you will report to me. You object to his project? Or are you incapable of performing this duty?
No, Your Majesty. Whether we shelter within the dome or expand beyond it, we require great power. But with no one to rely upon, we must take that power for ourselves, even if the means are questionable.
So like with Sphene, it seems this hookup was entirely one of convenience and necessity.
I will do as you command. But if Kaniloka's work bears fruit, I wish to beg a boon.
What do you desire?
Something that I had accepted I would never have in Tuliolal. That I believed would forever be beyond me. That it was foolish to covet. But here and now, it is close. So very, very close.
Ah, she's thirsty. Thirsty for the king.
Perform your duty to my satisfaction, and anything you desire is yours.
I suppose it makes sense.
That which I seek does not lie within this dome. Here, I cannot prove the miracle.
Like I said, he's doing whatever he can to prove himself, because nothing will ever be good enough. He just keeps trying to push more and more great feats without thinking them through, basically.
But if what you seek is at hand, then you may claim it, for it has no value to me.
I suppose it was even something like this. Jakul here would consider. Yes, I'm intentionally getting his name wrong. Still, would consider it transactional. This explains why records of her had to be expunged. Because she was tied to a project that could not be made public under any circumstances, because even the Alexandrians would probably consider it too much. Yeah, I guess it's for the best we finished the job that he refused. Odds are it was too powerful for Zerol to handle on his own, and that's why he decided to imprison like his father. And then when he saw an opportunity after the dome...
Teishalja. Could she be my mother?
Right
Like
now, she's the only
people
lead.
in the outskirts said, few Mamulja lived in the Yasulani. I can't imagine many other Ubiko women were trapped in the dome. That being the case, she could well be the one.
This observatory Kanaloka returned to, could it not be part of the research facility? We might learn something about Teishalja there.
That's where we're going next, then.
Sounds good to me. Teishalja, you said her name was. I wonder what her story is. It seems that Kanaloka was in charge here. From your recounting, he was quite dedicated. Either that or was dedicated to mad science and only cared for Zeralja because he didn't, well, because he didn't get his name wrong like I do, but also because he funded research. Usually mad scientists only care about those who will allow them to freely do whatever their research requires. And obviously, the amount of leaders who will give them free reign is likely in very short supply, because I can tell you right now, I'm pretty sure Sphene would not have approved. I mean, she'd have done other terrible things, but she wouldn't have approved of his terrible things specifically. The villagers are likely monitoring the imprisoned Taral Vidral at Zeralja's behest. At some point, they become involved in the research of souls. It seems... Now the danger's behind us, I've started sinking in just how unsettling this place is. Hard to believe it used to be a village. That you should be able to peer into the Taral Vidral's past. I wonder what that implies for the beast's consciousness while it was sealed away. Yeah, that implies it... Yeah, that kind of implies that it was actively... conscious the whole time. I wish I could see in the past like you, then I could see people who are gone. Because there aren't any other Mamulja women here. For a long time, I couldn't even imagine what my mother would look like. When I visited Tuliyola and saw some, I was finally able to picture her in my mind. I hope one day I can see what she actually looked like as well. Oh, choose a reward! All it's missing is the gun pointing at you on the side. None of these look particularly great, if we're honest, but whatever. I can sell them or something later. You may now enter. Is it alright if I go around by myself now? We should have killed all the enemies here, at the very least. Among the abandoned, Krell's eager to begin searching the research facility. While we've discerned the purpose of the research conducted here, the traces of it that remain might afford us greater insight of what came of it. Let's take a look around for information as well as a way to the upper levels. And like I said, this is giving me a lot of flashbacks of Remnant 2. Oh, I do appreciate when they let me walk around the dungeon like this. Well, I don't think there's any notes in here anyways. Actually, I might have missed some of the notes there as well. Crap. Oh well. We got the gist of it. What happened to the people here? Did they all leave? Or did we already meet them? Yeah, I guess even Galuljaw is thinking the same thing was that perhaps the scientists might have been those monsters we fought. I think people actually volunteer their souls for these experiments. Success was far from guaranteed, even in the best case scenario. And even in the best case scenario, they'd cease to be people. Was their devotion to Zoraljah so absolute? I wonder what Beklog would make of this research into transferring souls. Researchers likely move between upper and lower levels. Perhaps we can find a key among their belongings. Makes me angry to think about what they did here. I guess while we're here, I should mention, the voice actors did re-record their lines for the final boss fight, so now the English version sounds a lot more natural. There's definitely some weird stuff going on. I guess it didn't help that it hit at a weird time. Like, I think I mentioned Ishtola's voice actor was having a child at the time, so her voice sounded a lot different, probably because she was recording from home instead of a studio. It won't open, and I don't think it'll yield to our shoulders either. We'll have to do it the old-fashioned way and find the key. Maybe I could slice through with my sight. A lift can be seen beyond the wrought iron gate. As sturdy as it appears, it would likely resist attempts to force it open. A security panel, perhaps a verification key will open the way. Ah, I see, so I had to check that in order to unlock the key location. Test subject's journal. They're recruiting volunteers for a new experiment. I know I'm not as bright as the others, but they won't laugh at me if I was stronger. This might be my chance. Souls transferred a few days ago. Soul transferred. I can write. I can write good. Yes, I'm good. Very good. Getting hard to control strength today. Bit handoff feeder. Cannot help him so strong. Hungry, always hungry. Cannot control eat. Eater, I must. Wasn't that a mood? You find nothing that resembles a verification key. I see. So they slowly lost their mind. I'd rather take a look around for some of the other potential lore stuff while I'm here, rather than immediately check what's likely to have the key, because the file cabinet's likely to have it. Now, the fact this place was abandoned in quite the hurry carries its own implications. Mangled corpse. A journal lies next to the body. I was transferred to Uiwata Station in order to train the villagers in the use of electro technology. While a child can learn quickly to operate common contraptions, it'll be no easy thing for them to obtain the requisite skill to develop new weapons. Ones which require no less than manipulation of souls. Thankfully, 2 of my pupils have demonstrated great aptitude. Kanilaka, the village chief, and Ishalja, field surgeon. Further driven by their loyalty to our king, their growth's been remarkable. I dare to hope that before long, they'll be able to carry their duties out further instruction. I may be relieved of my duty. Yes, he was relieved of his duty in a very violent fashion. imagine when he was relieved of his duty, he didn't expect it would be at the same time that he was relieved of his soul and life. Yeah, I don't mind search random places if it has some nice lore bits like that. Open cabinet. Supplies for the staff are neatly arranged. Among the various items is a manual outlining regulations and tranquilizing gas to be used in emergencies. You find a verification. Perhaps it could be used to open the iron gate. You know, the weird part about this outfit is, while it looks like the boots, this parts, the things that make it look like I'm wearing boots, those are actually part of the leggings. The shoes are just the foot-only portion. It's weird. Found the key? Great, I'll call the others. Seems the key can be used to operate the lift as well. Up we go. So this is the observatory. I didn't expect it to be similar, but this is a far cry from the temple that held Valley Garmonda. All the machinery appears to still be in operation. I expect there are auxiliary systems in place to ensure monitoring can continue, even in emergencies. The warnings indicate various anomalies related to the seal's failure, most likely. For a blessing, we managed to fell the beast before it could cause any harm. Right then, let's see if we can find some clues about Galalja's mother. I think I can use this terminal. Shale taught me how. There's so much data. I don't know what we should look at. Perhaps we could narrow down the search by inputting the name Shilja. Ah, brought up a lot of results, and they all seem to say one thing. Tishalja, Administrator of Experimental Treatments, Research Logs. This sounds good, doesn't it? Chances are good the data is encrypted, and even if not, it'll take considerable time to go through it all. Then let us take it with us to the back room and have Shale analyze it. Agreed. Alright, I'll transfer it to the storage device I brought. It's always good to carry a thumb drive around for any spare, especially when you're expecting to gather information from somewhere. There, it's finished. Thank you so much for bringing me all the way here, everyone. If you're happy, then so am I. Besides, I was able to learn more about my brother as well. It was a fruitful adventure for the both of us. We learned he was an even bigger asshole than we realized. I suppose that is a productive day. I admit the Troll Vidrol gave me a fright at first, then I remember who felled mighty Valgarmonda. I'll not soon forget our visit to the facility. It was a troubling reminder of the depravity that can arise from a belief that souls are simply a resource to be exploited. Kilwu says very good at driving the hover cargo. I wonder if I can learn to drive too? Maybe when you're old enough to reach the pedals. I'm glad we could find out what we sought in that abandoned factory. It seems to say my brother returned to Ueyata for the Terral withdrawal. He wanted its power no matter the cost. And here we are. The authorities would doubtless wish to be informed about the facility and its contents, but first things first, let's deliver the data to Shale. Thing is, I still don't know who we can trust there. Galuljaw we know we can trust because they're a kid. He's not exactly going to... He doesn't exactly have any intentions to hide, but adults are not quite so simple. I best grab a sip of my drink while I'm warping. There we are. Solution 9 has a pretty nice theme in the background, I think. Head into the back room. Yes, just not the back rooms. I'm well aware I have to clarify which. You found information on Galuljah's mother. You lot never cease to amaze me. Having spent some time in harsh environs, I feel I have a better understanding of how much of a steadying presence this fiend was to her people. Galuljah had no trouble keeping up during the outing. He really is his father's son. From what I can see, things haven't changed much since the funeral. People are still listless like before. Yeah, unfortunately, time alone is going to be needed for that. I've been thinking it may behoove us to learn how to use the various devices throughout Alexandria. Better late than never. I still need to learn how to use the devices, the Allegan devices. The data will be in good hands with Shale. Welcome back. Galuljah has already given me the storage device. Looks to be a wealth of data, all of which is encrypted, so I'll need time to process everything. In that case, Alice and I might take ourselves to the city to check on the people. Aye, the mood's a bit worried. I don't know if there's anything we can do to help, but understood. I'll let you know as soon as I've finished. Thank you. We'll see you again soon. Encrypting files isn't the hard part. It's when the number of digits in a password is unknown that the long nights begin again. I do remember really old MMOs had a point where if a story said you'll need to wait a few days for a response here, it actually does that. You have to wait for a timer to tick over before it came through. Ooh. You have no idea how good you have it these days, Sonny. We had it rough and we liked it. Actually, no, we didn't. That totally sucked. Granted, some still have. It's always rough to sort out what stuff seems good because of nostalgia and what seems good because it was actually good. My litmus test for that is, if a system was introduced in a new game today, would it still be considered as good as it was for a game released ages ago, or would it still be considered bad? And I'm not talking about just convenience stuff, I'm talking about in general. It's why I think people pushing old games forget that nostalgia can be very powerful towards making something seem good. But then again, I guess one could argue there's no such thing as bad design, stupid as that might sound on the surface, because, like, imagine the most broken and buggy game in your mind right now. Now, odds are it has a speedrunning community. In fact, Google it right now, the name of whatever broken, buggy mess you have, because, like, let's see, what's a broken, terrible one? I guess there's, oh yeah, I know our friends ranting about that a while. Alright, so I do know FNAF Security Breach is rather infamous for being so ridiculously broken and buggy at launch, but that has a dedicated speedrunning community that absolutely loves finding bugs and exploits. It's always more preferred. It almost seems like I'm not part of the speedrunning community, but it does almost seem like buggy games are more preferred than ones where everything is foolproof, because... And yeah, I know there's always separate categories for glitchless runs and ones with glitch and anything goes runs, but, well, I mean, look at how many records for one versus the other. Let's just say there's way more of one than the other, and it's not the glitchless run. This is, I'm saying, controversial thing. Because now, Godfather 3 wasn't that bad. It just needed to not be part of the Godfather series, because it'd be good on its own merits if only it had been its own franchise. Geode's concern is writ upon his face. Alice ain't wrong, mood out there is still grim. Some of the Tuarli remember a time when they were dependent on the soul system, but even they're unsettled and wondering aloud if they'll have a chance to reunite with old friends and family before they pass on. With a good reason too, the journey home won't be an easy one for those who've grown old. That's why it's mostly been younger folk leaving for Tyrol, ones with no elders to care for either. What are the problems reach us to Tuliolal as well? My brother's doing all he can to have the Zoctorol Railroad restored to operation so the people may come and go more freely. Unfortunately, the tracks only go as far as Vanguard, so some traveling by foot was still necessary. Even so, the railroad would make things a slight easier. How long before it's back in service? I couldn't say. When I left for his visit, Kana seemed reluctant to make any promises. But while Shale's working on the data, we could see the state of it for ourselves. Shalonai Station, then. Make sure to keep Kana informed. Shishinawasi Spring. Shishinawasi Spring. Guidance. Is it Shalona? I'm pretty sure it's not Illinois. I'm pretty sure it's Shalwani. I'm just incapable of pronouncing anything correctly. Well, like I said, it's a shame I wasn't streaming this back when I was doing Stormblood, because I'm pretty sure I got those areas as wrong as well. Operation's still suspended, but we're trying to remain optimistic. It's good to see you're doing well yourselves. Oh yeah, they did add another custom. I think she's a new custom delivery NPC now. I think. The custom delivery storylines aren't anything major, but for some reason I find myself enjoying them. It's also nice that it helps skyrocket levels for those, because I don't really plan to do any. I don't really plan to max out the. It's probably good to max out their levels, I guess, if only because it would allow me to attach my own materia without having to pay the NPCs so much, because that does add up quite a bit. Like, I had to meld when I first got the Neo Kingdom gear, then when I upgraded to the Quetzal, I had to re-meld that, and now that I have the items to upgrade it to 730, I have to re-meld it after that as well, so it adds up. Vow of Resolve and Coda Blue, what can I do you for? We're hoping to have some good news about the railroad. There's an increasing number of people looking to return to Tyrol that cannot make the journey on foot. I see. As it happens, Vow of Reason's also on his way here to take stock of the situation. Ah, Scratch Thee on his way. Oh, hey, Aaronvel. In a new outfit. Looking good, Aaronvel. As the guild ship has officially approved my transition from gleaner to independent contractor, I was in need of more befitting attire. You hear about the railroad as well? It was in part for my sake the original Dawn Blazer was sacrificed, so I felt it only right if I assist in its replacement. Speaking of which, I assume Lamati has explained the growing urgency of need. What have you to report? Well, the new locomotive was on track for completion. We're having difficulty pulling her to the station, a matter of speaking. You see, when we used the Dawn Blazer to get into the dome, urgency outweighed all of the considerations. Now we're back to our original problem, how to run the railroad without upsetting the inhabitants. And some else. That is the Ronique. Though the Hetzaro that follow them are none too pleased about the Hetz being spooked by the noise of the locomotive either. The solution I've devised to quieten the railroad should address that complaint. But a silent train presents a different danger. The Ronique will need to be deterred from wandering across the tracks. And I suppose we can't just blow the whistle, or they'll panic and go off their grazing again. Weren't the rail routes plotted to avoid their preferred grazing areas, though? It's odd they're getting so close in the first place. The Ronique's grazing patterns have shifted since the tracks were laid. I'm not certain why, but I intend to ask the people of Moetson for their insight. As a major proponent of the railroad, I have a duty to assist in this matter, and I'd be all to hear what the Hetzaro have to say about it. They're the ones most affected, after all. I believe it would be best to begin by consulting their leader, Huado. The rest of you can accompany us to the encampment if you'd like. I do like the blue color of the hunt train, but I guess the generic yellow enemies are pretty nice too. I'm sure they'll add the other one as a mount later as well. It's always a bit of a wonder whenever you have a favorite mount versus a rare mount, because a lot of time, same with titles, it's common for people to want the ones that are both rare and fun. Like, my rarest title is Keeper of Knowledge, which is a PvP title. Or at least it's the rarest according to, Final Fantasy XIV Collect and all achievements anyways. But I also don't think it fits this character particularly well, even though it should be fine. You'd think it'd be fine. Whatever, it just doesn't feel right when I have it on, so I had something else. Then again, I think it's nice that I'm changing up titles in general. It was just Makai Master for a while, which is another PvP title. Not very rare, but it does look nice, and it did take a good bit of grinding to get. Our prior visit to that Tsar was also on railroad business. Pray they do not take us for train enthusiasts. This is Koana of our reason, is it not? I barely believe it. I'm glad to have Koana back. As committed to that Tsar or tradition, they're amenable to the unfamiliar. Or so I am told. To think all this can be packed up at a moment's notice to follow wherever the Ronique tread. Valvers all Valvers, and I bid you welcome to our camp, but what brings you here? I thank you for seeing us. Our concern is the matter of the Zuctrol Railroad. You see, this is going to take a bit to explain, so we're going to have a... You too have noted the Ronique's unexpected change of behavior, then. My son, Geppetto, has been looking at this matter. Geppetto? Normally, we'd expect the Ronique to keep to their favorite grounds nearby for a while yet. And yet, despite a thorough search, we haven't found anything wrong with the quality or quantity of the grazing in these areas. Yet they refuse to go where they would, instead pushing westward towards your railroad. I certainly see no cause for this unusual migration. Nevertheless, should they continue to move west, we will follow them. As any true Hetzaro would, I suppose. As you may have surmised, I am of Hetzaro descent. My parents traveled with the Ronique as well, though I myself have no memory of this experience. I was left behind as a babe, you see, during such a migration. One of the many sacrifices necessitated, I'm forced to assume. Right, we learned a bit about how Wuklamad ended up with her adopted family, but not how Kana did. A chance encounter with a kind Pelu merchant was the only reason I survived. Taking pity on me, he taught me his trade that I might fend for myself. I became a stall keeper in the Tuliolo markets, and that's where the Dawn Servant found and adopted me. I'd already been in a palace for some time when Lamatia came to join us. Like me, she'd been cast aside. I knew the pain of solitude and wanted to spare her that suffering. As this tiny child's new brother, I swore I would always be there for her. Truly, I've never heard of Ronique choosing a path so arduous as to force such a terrible decision. Nor have any of Asara willingly left their own flesh and blood behind. It must have been some exceptional circumstance. I cannot say. The idea of following their footsteps that I might better make... I cannot say. The idea of following their footsteps that I might better make excuses for their actions never really appealed to me. But if they had a good reason, wouldn't you want to know? And so is often the case, you are correct. Through my discomfort with that sorrow may arise from fear of reopening own wounds rather than blind fervor for innovation. It nevertheless see me repeat past mistakes. And to refuse to learn one of our country's treasured traditions would make me a poor Dawn servant indeed. Please teach me of the Ronique and that they mean to you. I promise to listen with an open mind. We would be delighted. In the meantime, your companions are welcome to look around. Yeah, something definitely had to go on. It's possible the parents were even killed in an attack or something, so they didn't have a choice in the matter. Especially since now, granted, the leader could just be putting on a facade. Oh, I gotta look good for the leader. That must have been a very exceptional space, and definitely not something that happens regularly, but we don't have any evidence either way, so we'll worry about it later. Will you learn of Hetsara culture with me? I should like to approach this with fervent curiosity that you and my sister share. It'd be useful to know whether I'm doing it correctly. Then settled. You'll learn more of the Ronique, and we'll have a look around the plains, and perhaps, in the process, find answers we seek. Yeah, it looks like Dawntrail's going back to what happened before Endwalker, where the story is more or less going to continue on. The main story is going to be complete around the 0.3 patch, and then the 0.4 and 5 will lead into the next expansion. It would be a joy to share our traditions with the new Dawn servants as we once did with Gululja. The quickest way to learn about our way of life is to do as we do. I hope you're not above manual labor. I'm not the most experienced, I'm ashamed to admit, but I shall put forth every effort. That's all we ask. Take these tools. Now, introduce yourself to anyone who looks busy and ask if you can help. They'll be happy to teach you what we do in exchange for another pair of hands to do it. Let's meet back here and later, just share what we've learned. Talkative. I'm afraid I've finished with my tasks for the time being, but since you're eager to learn about our way of life, why don't I tell you a bit about our migration customs? If you're here, you likely already know that the Ronique are our guides, that we travel through the turning of the seasons. We trust them to lead us to fertile lands with all we need to survive. But what you may not know is that sometimes the herd splits in two, bound for different paths. On those occasions, we must also part with half of our number. You may think it a strange and stressful custom, but over the years, it's seen us to new lands, broaden our horizons of people. This, too, is the wisdom of the Hetzo. I know, it's pretty creepy that that one's completely unblinking. Troubled. This won't do. The wind will go right through it, and me without my needle and sinew. A mending kit. Box containing needles, sinew, scraps of hide, and other mending accoutrements. Oh, these are precisely what I need. I should be able to patch up the covering now. Given how often we pack up and reassemble our tents, they're bound to get the occasional tear. Fortunately, Ronique hide they're made of is durable enough we generally don't need to worry. Makes sense. I might be overthinking things, but I did go in here remembering, okay, they're probably going to be putting on their best face for the tourists, more or less, because, like I said during the, Rite of Ascension, we're thinking, okay, all the promises and potential Dawn servants here, we gotta put in a good word. We gotta make ourselves look best. I should probably also mend everything real quick. It'd also be nice to be able to mend stuff myself, although I guess that does mean I'll need to eat another... it doesn't matter if I have to eat another, inventory space. I need to clean out my inventory anyways. I got a few things I still haven't figured out what I want to do with, so that'll have to come in time. Hey, you're learning about the Hatsara way of life, aren't you? I'm everything or two to share, but rather than talking your ear off, let me test your powers of deduction. I find answers much easier to recall if I arrive at them myself. Our heads so provide us with something we use in medicines. And poultices, soap, and drive away pests to stain our fires. What is it? Meat and organ meat. Let's see here. Bones, hooves, or wait, are hooves bones? Wait, are hooves bones? Both horns and hooves have cores of bone, and we use all those materials, albeit primarily in tent poles, instruments, and the like. That's not quite the answer I was looking for. I'm guessing by doing the others, I'll figure this out. And, so we'll do this other one first. You're here to help? Why don't I show you how to care for a Ronik's coat? Go ahead and run your fingers through it, gently now. As you stroke it, you note that many portions are shaggy and tangled. This one's fur is a bit overgrown, but a good brushing. Would you like to give it a try? You need the right tool, though. A type of comb the type of comb you're used to will just get lost in a tangle, like as not. Fur brush. A specialized tools. Ah, Geppetto sent a Ronik brush with you, did he? Oh, how like him. Now just run it through it one patch at a time, very gently. You dutifully brush until your arms grow weary from the long battle with its coat. It appears much tidier. The same cannot be said for your clothes, which have acquired a new coat of their own. Well done. With less excess fur, our friend here will be more comfortable in the afternoon heat with less susceptible to illness. A combed coat also makes it easier for us to identify injuries should the need arise. Guess not. To remind you, the material fit for medicines, poultices, and soap. Drive away pests. Meat. Organ. Meat? Ah, it's not quite. They can be made to delicious fare. Our neighbors often are glad to trade for them. And they do have medicinal uses, but they aren't all fit for all purposes mentioned in my question. Is it dung? Again? Sounds like there's a story there, but that's indeed the correct answer. We've discovered a myriad uses for Ironic chips over time, each a boon in the way of life, and where there's a need, our heads always provide. Oh, you smell of grass in the wind, which is a good thing, I promise. You could be mistaken for one of us. You even look the part. I have to wonder how Val Khan is getting on. I assumed he would be reluctant to get his hands dirty, but it seems like his wish to understand us is sincere. Ah, there he is now. Apologies for my tardiness. I was tasked with grazing and ended up rather far afield. I found myself wandering hither and thither at my companion's inclination. To force us back at the trail seemed inappropriate. How was your own work? Do you have anything to share? The life rolls on the Renique, but in turn the people see they need. The Renique are treasured members of the community as important. Yes, I feel the truth of this myself. While I was hesitant to leave my fate to the whims of their head, so rather than tread man-made paths, I arrived where I was meant to be all the same. Mine is not the only way, though at times I lack the experience to know otherwise. My inability to conceive how a decision might be right does not mean that it's wrong. My parents had a duty to the Renique as they did to me. I wonder if their leaving me behind was not so selfish as I once believed. I have no way to know, of course, and regardless, it has no bearing on our present concerns. We're here in the service of the people of Troll, after all. Nevertheless, I do thank you for helping me and finding deeper meaning in what we've done today. And I will endeavor to remain curious, especially where the Hetzo are concerned. Glad to hear that, Valkana. You're welcome among our herd any time. Alright, the gelatinous dessert's flavored with mouth-watering sour kick of branch berry fruits. Fruit and aloe jelly. Roast ronique. Thin slices of ronique chuck seasoned and slow roasted for hours on the tender. Wild banana blend. Stratica bananas take center stage in the sweet and tangy summertime smoothie. The foods always sound so delicious in this game. I know there's a recipe book, but it usually has more of the simpler Realm Reborn ones. Still, maybe I should work out a bit more. Oh yeah. I do kind of like to think of my character having a bit of story to him. Like, when I started the game, I only knew the bare bones of the Mikoti lore, but it basically seemed to amount to a kind of lion-like society where there's a dominant male that commands the females who do most of the work and hunting and such, and the other males in there can't. The nun males, the Tia males are the unmarried ones. Are not. They don't breed. They just have the ability. Basically, just prep their time to. They either leave to find their own fortunes or prep to fight for the lead nun, to become the new nun to breed with the females. So again, very lion-like society. Yeah. My character stars an archer, so I figure he wanted to be a hunter out there in the action with the others, but since males don't really handle, again, it's a lion-like society, so the females do most of the hunting. And he decided he'd rather go and find his own fortunes, especially since, let's see here. Especially since even if he theoretically were to win that, he'd just be sitting back and commanding. He wouldn't be where the action is, which of course would be boring. He was kind of a hippie of a whatever will be type of person, hence having the spinner as his guardian deity. And he found his way to Eorzea. I think I had Kennedy was from the authored continent or something, but I'd have to look up again where Mikoti the various places Mikoti come from. The only thing the story opens with is that you're from outside of Eorzea. Some could even potentially come from Tyrol, I guess, if you wanted to have that. Tyrol was generally known, had the bare basics known about them before this expansion. This is only our first time seeing it directly. We've had a few continents like that. That's why there's a lot of speculation of where the next expansions could be. Like, Mercidia is definitely on the list, which would be nice. There's still, it's been said in interviews, there's still secrets of the Allagans we've yet to learn, and they had a strong presence in Mercidia, where Bahamut's dragons lived. Bahamut's brood. I think I mentioned, but I'm one of those annoying people who changes main almost every expansion. Like, when I started Realm Reborn, I wasn't Bard, so I kind of had this. Then I don't have the outfit here, but I was just the ninja artifact gear, so I was ninja for Heaven's Ward. Then comes Stormblood, I was Red Mage. I was almost a dancer during Shadowbringers, but I ended up sticking with Red Mage for it. And obviously for Endwalker and Dawntrail, I am Reaper. It's pretty easy to explain how, with what I mentioned about my character before, it's easy to see how he'd go for a Bard, wanting to be where the action is, have tales to tell and all that. A ninja would also work since, obviously, a strange new fighting style from the Far East would certainly appeal. And Red Mage is a wandering adventure, is pretty much made for wander adventuring, since it came about after White and Black magic was banned for a time. So instead, they used a weaker form of the two, using their own personal energy rather than drawing from the area around themselves. So it's a lot of them took to wander adventuring types, and even your job trainer for it is as well. So pretty easy. Reaper. It's honestly hard to say. The only thing I can think of for the character story is tied to the fan theory that the Avatar is yourself from the 13. But that's never been confirmed. So it's kind of up in the air, if we're honest. Reaper is probably far from the most lore. I might even be better off like maining Samurai or something, since that's, or even Viper or Picto, since those fit the character a bit better, but what can I say? Reaper just synergizes with me so well. Warmth of family. Koana appears loath to apart from his Roni companion. Oh, looks like a bit of a windstorm's coming in. Koana, how'd it go? I believe I finally understand the significance of the Hetso. Even with their cold, unblinking eyes, they nourish Hetsaro as they grow and provide warmth and companionship in a harsh and unpredictable world. They are equal of any man, not beasts to be tamed. What? Moreover, the Ronik are sensitive. Though we may treat their injuries or brush their coats, they must never feel free to follow their instincts and seek lands where they thrive. That Tsar would never cage them, and neither should we. To control their migratory patterns or capture those who wander too close to the tracks is out of the question. Then it's particularly important to advance our original line of inquiry. Fortunately, we're able to visit the Ronik's once favored grazing grounds. As we were told, the grass looks fine, the place is quiet. Not just the Ronik, even the birds and mice have fled. We did encounter one pack of Seraptors, but they were looking passage through in a hurry. Typically, that sort of behavior of fauna would be associated with natural disasters, earthquakes, landslides, or the like. Though the Hetsaro have surely put two and two together where the cause is geological, I measured the area's ether to be certain. There's indeed nothing to suggest recent environmental disruption, but I did notice one anomaly. A strong etheric signature to the east, moving across the plain, albeit slowly. A large animal, perhaps, or rather, a Tural Vidral. And a powerful one, like is not a predator, given the local fauna's behavior. One of the raptors we saw looked like it had a bite taken out of its tail by something with very large fangs. Could it be a Turretso? A Turretso? Aronic Riva in common tongue. Our people have several names for such creatures. Fangs that steal Hetso in the night as another evocative one. Aronic can fend off many predators with our horns, but not the Turretso. Their scales are tough and adamant. Neither horn nor arrow can pierce them. Ah, but can a scythe? A well-toothed carnivore with an unusually tough hide. I cannot recall any such fauna in this region. Ah, so it's an invasive species. They usually roam the wilds northeast, and most herds keep well clear of them. I can't tell you why this one went so far from its home and pack both. In any case, I believe the source of the Ronik's consternation is clear. As our next move, we must drive this creature away so that they might return to their grazing lands in peace. And if not, I shall just slice it up with my scythe. Never fear, we'll make certain this beast threatens you no more. Ah. You don't know how happy I am to see the duty warning. The Ronik Cleaver is a clear threat to the local population. We cannot allow it to roam unchecked. But it won't do for us to go running off in search of it without having made proper preparations. And if others returning from the plain from across the plain have spotted it, it may be able to inform us of its recent behavior and where it might be found. If you can progress through there, it will be saved at certain points. In the event you're defeated, you'll try again for the most recent of these. Please note that if you enter battles with other quests, the game will be this will be lost. Ooh, I'm actually not going to be synced this time. Interesting. But I am melded, so I should be strong. I should be over-geared for this. First, let me grab some of my drink. Alright. Then again, even though these solo duties are usually generally made pretty easy, especially so that you can solo it with a healer or something and still be fine. I still do like they can make some, unique set pieces here that can't really be done in dungeons or other easily repeated content, or stuff that would be be annoying if had to be done repeatedly.
Help! Help! Dodohetsu is coming this way!
Toretsu. Also, I was pronouncing it correctly. They're gonna need me. My scythe is at my scythe.
Beasts across the plains in a panic, and our Ronek are practically paralyzed with fear. We must get them to safety.
We can assist by helping to calm the creatures. Once they're less agitated, it should be possible to hurt them.
And after they're out of harm's way, we'll deal with the Ronek Reaver.
I suggest you remain here to attend to the Ronek when they arrive.
They'll be safe with me. Please, be careful out there.
Make haste! We must protect the Ronek!
Don't worry, we're right behind you.
Search for them. It would be fortunate if they ran this way. Eyes peeled. Then maybe they're too frightened to find us? What if it got them? Oh yes, I think I see them.
There they are!
Right, I'm not here to attack them.
They're terrified. We must do what we can to soothe them.
Stroking. If I was a healer, this might work a little better since I have soothing spells, but you gotta do what we can, I suppose. Shuffle.
Now.
That herd should be alright. Let's look for stragglers. The Ronek are to rally too. None shall be left behind.
There's someone coming. Call the hunters, run. Those are fine.
There must be something up ahead. Come!
Birds? Oh, the pterodactyls?
There!
Well, birds are dinosaurs, so they would be.
These are no match for the likes of us.
Oh, these poor things, they think they're scary. They're about to learn what's really scary. Ah, clever.
Panic was clearly an understatement. More are coming!
Toxic spit. I'm gonna have to... Crap, we're gonna have to take this, aren't I? Alright. I got my shield up. Okay, good, the heal's here. Did it hit Kana? No. I guess I'm not allowed to heal Kana. Or at least not without a proper healing spell. Alpha alligator.
Mine.
All or nothing then.
How do you like that? Oh, his limit break. Nice.
seems that did the trick.
For the fodder, at least. But where's...
Look there! We've got a big one coming!
Impenetrable scales and wicked fangs. That's a Rona Griever, and no mistake.
There! That one there!
Got.
Not so fast!
Oh no! Splash of shit. Damn, I should have taken it. Maiming gear has a lot higher physical defense, when, as shown earlier. I can take the hit a bit better.
Even should it cost me my life.
I will save the head soul!
Kona! Are you alright?
Do not concern yourself with me. Get the Ronek to safety!
Guess he isn't as different from his sister as he
You've
thinks.
nothing to fear.
Be reckless too. Don't worry, this thing. If you need something to die, a Reaper. You could do worse than calling it a Reaper.
Let's finish the job!
I made a vow to our people.
You shall plague them no longer!
Alright, let's see how well your scales hold up against my scythe.
You'll find the power of reason is not without resolve.
Okay, good. It doesn't matter what side. Protected by an impenetrable hide.
Buy me some time to think, will you? Must have a weakness, and I will find it.
Diamond scales, eh? And snare. Oh, for the love of...
Keep it busy. I need time.
Right! Go for the leg!
You got it. Oh, right, I need to actually mark the leg, don't I? How could I forget? I can't afford to lose. Of course, I should have remembered. I played the Monster Hunter Wilds Fate after all. I should remember the weakness. breaking my shield only makes me stronger, my friend. Gotta keep the timer up here.
Now we just have to keep it pinned.
Home gang. Will do. Surprised I didn't have the will do voiced.
A protective current of ether. Whence does it flow?
Ah, crap, I lost it. Oh well, doesn't matter.
I got it!
Am I gonna lose Perfectio? This is our best chance.
One well-placed piercing round to the chest, and...
Oh dang, that's the Marksman Spite. That's the PvP limit break for
You're
Machinist.
done for! That stemmed the flow of protective ether.
Ah, it's taking damage now. You are in dire straits, my friend. Taste my sight, buddy.
Backing down, huh? Fine with me.
Ah, he's aiming at me now. Ah, I see what he's doing here. Ah, crap. Ah, crap. I'm messing this up real bad. But it's growing desperate. There we are. There, finally got a good Perfectio, and that feels so satisfying. Either call is gonna call ads.
We must disperse that ether ere the Reaver recovers it.
This is going to hurt.
Nine, huh? Oh boy, this is gonna hurt. Don't even need to grab that last one.
We did it. The Etso, are they?
The Ronek have all made it to Mechwa Hetsuan. Hunters are scouring the area for any remaining threats, but the local fauna appear to have calmed down.
We cannot thank you enough for your timely aid. You, most of all, Bow of Reason. We feared you would be loath to take direct action, yet you didn't hesitate to put your life on the line for our Hetzo.
I did no more than is a Dawn servant's duty. The ethereal conductivity of those scales is astounding. I dare say we could repurpose them to create a device that emits controlled pulses of ether.
Ether resembling that of the predator the Ronek fear most.
That would keep them away from the train.
It might work. If we struck the right balance, we would have the means to deter the Ronek from approaching the railroad without causing them undue distress.
Incredible! Kona, you've done it again.
I must say, I was hoping I'd never have to see one of these again. Still haven't forgotten the last one. And it's been more than 20 years now. I had come as a trader to the camp in Lozenihetta. A camp that was obliterated in an instant by that monster.
That's what happened.
Lozenihetta. That's where the Pelu trader found me as a babe. Please, can you tell me what you saw?
As I said, I had traveled there to trade with our fellow Hetzaro. Like us, they followed the Ronek. And like us, they were visited by a reaver. The fiend struck like a whirlwind in the night. It was chaos. I grabbed some token belongings and bolted in a panic, thinking only of getting as far away as possible. But even in my panicked state, I could not help but notice the young couple racing the other way, toward the fell creature. Well distracted, I heard one cry. Save our son! Save the Hetzo! After that, nothing but the pounding of my heart and feet and Ronek thunder. I ran and ran. As the sun broke the horizon, I found myself separated from both man and beast. Windborne words say that a group of survivors reunited with their remaining Ronek and have long since moved on. But still more were never seen again, including the brave couple. Or so the story goes.
And what became of their child?
I'm afraid I don't know. But if he wasn't with the survivors, even if he lived through that night, the wilderness wouldn't have been kind to a little one out on his lonesome.
Maybe not. But perhaps a passing Pelu would. And one day, even a Dawn servant himself. All these years, I was convinced that my parents had left me behind to follow after the Ronek. But now I see, they didn't abandon me. They were trying to keep me safe. I've wasted so much time resenting them, when in truth, they gave me everything I have today. It is thanks to them that I live to know the warmth of family, even after they were gone. And now that I am Dawn servant, all of Tuliyola is my family. A family I will always protect. as my parents protected me.
I can't imagine how Kana is feeling right now. That Reaver, you don't suppose it was the same one? We certainly got more than we bargained for when we set to solve our railroad conundrum. You made felling that look easy. On behalf of that, so I thank you. If Bao Kona counts as among his family, then he's part of ours. I see. So we got Wook's history during the main story. This I'd have some of the patch dedicated to Kona's. And yeah, I would say it's a little contrived that one of those few survivors from there was here to explain the story to him, but to be fair, there was only so many ways they could tell that story. Yeah. Yeah. Plus, it's nice spending some time with Kona since we didn't get to do too much of that in the main story before, so having some time with him here feels nice. Like I said, I don't mind if into the Scions being around. I just would prefer they rotate them out now rather than force them all to be in every expansion going forward. Unfortunately, I think marketing kind of requires them, which is unfortunate. Which is all. So why I get why people don't like the plot protection, because none of them can die because of the marketing. A lot of people like to see the adventures of the Scions, after all, but at the same time, I do think there's rotating them out will keeping them around, while also giving some of these new characters like Kona time to shine. To know that sort of safe is more than enough. Yet, would it be wrong to hope that in protecting them we also avenge my parents? I at least owe them that after all this time. Thank you for staying by me as Dawn's servant, as the often perfect man beneath the mantle. Now, let's return our attentions to why we came here, shall we? We've removed the root cause of the Ronique straying from their favored grazing and obtained tools to provide a precautionary measure, a silent whistle if it were. The whistle must be capable of emitting pulses strong enough they shy away, yet not strong enough to drive them into panic. If we can achieve this, they're far sight better than traditional whistle, more effective and less stressful. Let's return to Olawani Station and work on it then. Wowlika and his crew will doubtless be relieved to finally have a solution. If you're a combat job and need to get money, rather than tomestones or whatever, one way to do it is just to be out and farm leather, like just get Ronique meat and hides and then sell those. Like when I was doing some stuff in what is it? Yeah, I was in Eastern Than earlier this week doing some stuff, but then I realized, oh wait a minute, these aligoat hides are a common early game leather, so I just got a whole stack of those, sold it, made some pretty nice cash. Granted, it was rather time consuming, it's a grind after all, but hey, did earn a decent profit. Really pleased about something. Good news to the railroad, I take it. The Ronique were avoiding predator, smart ones they are, and Val Kana's not too bad himself with this whistle idea. Sit tight, we'll have a train on the tracks before you know it. Not yet. A variety of artisans from across Tyrol have come to assist the railroad, so I foresee no difficulty in creating the whistle Kona considered. I always carry a pair of spectacles or two, as it can be difficult to find replacements outside the city. You wouldn't believe how many I went through during the Rite of Succession. So it's like when sunglasses shatter, just takes them off, throws them out, pulls out another pair, Or maybe he takes them off and a new pair is already behind them. This train will be ready in no time. Whatever this leads to, I'm sure it'll be good and not horrible.
We're ready to go.
Whoa! She looks as good as new!
If I had time to do a proper job, could have really made her shine. Had to cobble together the exterior with spare parts. We refurbished the interior, though. Not that you can appreciate it from out here. But as far as the Ronek are concerned, we've spared no effort. From the ballast to the ties, we've adjusted every bit of the track so she'll run quiet as a field mouse.
You and your crew have worked wonders. Our nation is in your debt.
Come now. If anything, credit's due to Tuliolal. It's thanks to the folk you recruited from every corner of the continent that we were able to get her up and running so quickly. Besides, the ethereal whistle's the true marvel, and we wouldn't have that without the scales you brought us. However grateful you are, know that we're even more thankful.
Even now, he's still making new and greater innovations.
If we're done talking, let's put this train through her paces.
I guess since she's a custom delivery, I imagine he'll be one as well. Kind of like how Zloe and her boss were both custom deliveries in Stormblood. Ooh, maybe if we're lucky, we'll even get a train mount out of it. That'd be nice. Although there's not very many, so probably wishful thinking there. But hey, we have a tank mount, so who knows what's an option there. Riding the train.
There's a Ronek up ahead.
Now, to test our whistle.
On it. Just point it in the general direction and...
Ooh.
It's moving away.
Kona truly is the innovator.
Meanwhile, our friends over there appear wholly unperturbed.
With this, we can alert those who wander too close without disturbing the rest of the herd.
A roaring success! In a quiet way, like. Then with your permission, Vow of Reason, the Shaktaral Railroad is back in service.
Ah, wonderful. It's always nice when a massive problem is resolved. Now, and you'll be able to come and go from the dome as they please. I can't wait to spread word in Alexandria. I expect that with the Reaver gone, the Ronek will gradually return to their old habits, and we won't see many approaching the tracks. It's good to see the whistle will be effective in the meantime, however. The folks that Valcon brought in to help rebuild the railroad have already returned home, but I hope we can give them a ride someday. With that, I believe our work here is done. The fine people of Zoctral Railing can take it from here. For a while there, we were real worried that we'd never get the railroad running again. But now the test drive is a success, we can breathe easy and start hauling people to and from the dome. First Shalawani, and then the continent. Watch out, Zoctral, here we come. I share the sentiment, but we got a mountain of work ahead of us to ensure smooth operations. Time to get back to it. The efforts here today have not gone unnoticed. Once more, I thank you. As for on work, I trust you can handle matters in Alexandria, Lamai. Crossroads. Everyone stand still. Walk is ready to race you back to Alexandria. I guess we do need to finally get the information. Well, it's possible that Shale has made some headway by now, and regardless, we should spread the word the railway has been restored to service. Shale, what do you have her working on? Finding out who Galul's mother is, primarily. Galulja's mother. I feel the same in his shoes, have felt the same. Some questions are painful to just leave unanswered. There's no cause to look at me like that. The Katua we met may have only been a simulacrum, but her memory was real. We needn't search for what we left behind because she left it with me, and I will carry it always. Oh, that's... I get it, because he has the Outrunner on his backpack. That's cute. Speaking of things you're carrying, is that a teeny Katua? What? No. Familiar token from Alexandria. Our friends in Oblivion would not take no for an answer, and I thought it was as good a souvenir as any. Whatever you say, Photosarka, I think it's a nice way to bring her with you on your travels. I will not show him the Outrunner mount I have. Yes, well, you're off to the dome now, aren't you? I thought I might join you for a time, see if there's aught I can do for the people there. Much has changed though it is, I still consider it my home. Of course, we can give you the full story on the way. That's a favorite destination. It kind of has to be because it's the main hub for high-level full currency trends. Well, the bad news is Galulja's dad was a bust since he went there to kill a Rolvadral, and either he wasn't strong enough to kill it or he decided to keep it in case he could find a use for it later, which of course we now know that he did. But his mother might still be, might not be a lost cause. Aaronville's wearing his Kachua. That makes me happy. So Zoralja was conducting secret research. I have memories of the place from my childhood. You must be exhausted. Shall I nip out for an energy tonic? Glad you're back. We wanted to keep Galulja here waiting any longer than necessary. Looks like we've arrived at a good time. A simple yet elegant solution, and thus the railroad is back in operation. Meanwhile, Shale has nearly finished processing the data. Should be able to share the data with us imminently. I'm interrupting something, I gather. Why, Stola, what brings you here? I've seen enough of the gate and Skydeep Canody for now, so I'm shifting my investigation to living memory. Here. Also, the dev decided I haven't had enough screen time. While there, I thought it would do well to be in the company of an expert on Electrope. I take a closer look at the place myself. I can join you once we're finished here. Lest you fear I've forgotten, once I've made headway in living memory, the key in your keeping shall be the next subject of my scrutiny.
There was a mountain of data to sift through, much of it tantalizing, I admit.
Can't blame you. That's
But
mad
it will
science.
take time to fully decrypt everything that piques my interest, so to answer our immediate question, I've been concentrating my efforts on the audio saved by Teishulja herself. While I've not listened to it yet, I have a selection ready for playback. Would you like to hear it now?
Sounds good to me.
Yes, please.
Let's find out just what kind of person would be thirsty for Zoralja.
Alright. Several audio files will now play in sequence.
Please make sure you set enough time aside.
My name is Teishulja, and I decided to record this to help me put my thoughts in order, I suppose. Mother?
Most likely.
Officially I was a Virgin with the Lance Guard. I was part of a contingent dispatch to Yasulani to hunt a Tural Vidral that was wreaking havoc. After our mission was complete, I elected to remain. It was the perfect opportunity to document the geographic distribution of medicinal herbs in this region. Or so I said when requesting special dispensation. In truth, I could not bear to return to Tuliolal. I had hoped to aid Commander Zoralja in the right of succession, but he did not so much as look my way. I was never in contention, of course, one of the nameless many in his army. To go back and face that reality was too much for me, so I ran. And in my cowardice, I stumbled upon this path. A path that changed my life. When the dome appeared, I found myself trapped within, and reunited with my commander. How am I to speak of Commander Zoralja? I admired him. His incontestable strength, his unwavering focus. He was a man of great passions. I watched him, captivated by his intensity. From afar, I would not dare approach. And in watching, I came to know him. His eyes too sought the distance, but not as mine did. He yearned not for another, but something else, beyond the horizon.
A goal which a goal which he couldn't realize he would never reach because his mind would never let him attain
That
it.
gaze would never fall upon me. I knew. The experiment will soon proceed to its next phase, and when it does, as he promised, I will have my heart's desire. Today, it should have been today. A new beginning. What I have dreamed of for so long. I hold a future in my arms. If he could see him, embrace him, surely that would be enough. So full of hope I was. A foolish hope.
Its scales are blue.
He's your son.
My... No, I can't. I don't know how. How could I? How?
Must have thought he was infertile.
A child be a father. I don't. I can't.
Ah, so he is the storm that is escaping.
No! No! Get it away from me. Get that thing away from me!
It's all right, little one. Papa was just surprised. That's all. He'll come around. We'll be a happy family.
Okay, so this is about... So basically he experienced the sex makes babies meme. Yeah, I guess he must have thought he was infertile or something. And then he refused to take responsibility. Yeah.
Can you look at shouting for me? The research hasn't been going well. But I can't let him take it out on my baby. Hush now, little one. I know just where to hide you.
I guess that turned out to be solution 9.
That's all of them.
He was abandoned, the poor dear. We found him in the drift downs a few years ago.
We know some manner of accident happened at the facility after this was recorded. Perhaps your mother couldn't come back for you.
Terrible as it is, it's most likely that she died. So like with Kana.
Hey, Gololcha.
I'm fine, Lamachi. Father and mother, they were both so lonely. If we could have been together, maybe they wouldn't have been. But sometimes things don't work out, no matter how hard you try. I can't tell if I'm happier now.
Well, at least he has closure.
But it's better to know, I think. Thank you, everyone.
T-Shaldra left written records as well. I'll compile them with Golulja. Perhaps something in them will be of comfort. It's okay, I wanted to know more of my parents and now I do, and I do not regret it. I have Lamai and you, Coda. I'm not lonely anymore. You may find it hard to believe, but until the right succession, Golulja was a good brother to me, and I thought that Papa was the best father anyone could ask for. I don't want to think this time we spent together as a family was a lie, but by the same token, the bitterness my brother harbored was all too real. If the dome had not appeared, Tishalja's tale might very well have been different. Yet whether or not she would have been happier, I cannot say. Wow, what a mess. Isn't that the truth? No matter how brave a face Golulja puts on, I expect it will take him some time to come to terms with this. He's a strong one, though. You needn't worry too much. Why leave such a record, you ask? I can't be certain, but I believe Tishalja simply wanted someone to understand how she felt. To understand. It's better to know. A profound response for someone so young. I wish he didn't have to be. Golulja is indeed wise beyond his years. Yet one never outgrows the need for dependable companions. Tis fortunate he has you. Thank you, Shale, because of you I got to know my mother's story. The whole story. You heard because you were brave enough to listen, Gululja. If you remember one thing, remember that. That's true, that is, once you learn this, you cannot unlearn it, especially now that the mind manipulation powers are all gone. Now then, having shared what I can at present, I'm ready to head to living memory when you are. I was planning to be thorough, so we'll need to stop for supplies along the way. That said, I promise we won't remain over long. I know we had much more to attend to. For now, farewell. A word before you leave. Our network's been spreading word of the railroad. We expected people to be clamoring to be on the first train back, yet it's been the polar opposite. Scant few seem inclined to depart Alexandria anytime soon. What? When we spoke before, so many from Tulliola were eager to reunite with friends and family. Maybe they're concerned about getting through Vanguard? If so, we could take turns accompanying them. In any case, we need to speak with the people ourselves. Let's start at Lay Node 9. Perhaps we should venture out a bit for ourselves. I'm as surprised as you are. Everyone's keen to pack their bags, but now that the journey's possible, they can't be bothered. Now the railroad's working, it'll be much easier to visit Tulliola. It'll be nice to see Kana again as well. The people are so nervous about remaining, I cannot help but wonder what prompted the sudden change of heart. I've asked Gio to fill me in on what happened in the dome. If I hear anything of interest, I'll be sure to pass it on. Some are speculating that Aaronville leaving the Gleaners might have him turn into the Beastmaster trainer or something like that. There may be still people gathering in Praxis Park, so let's try there first.
People look uneasy. Did something happen?
I suppose the only way to know is to ask. Well, we learned a lot about different characters' histories, but I suppose we still have something going on here.
Have you heard? Someone was killed in the Thunder Yards.
The Thunder Yards was one of the hunters slain by a beast.
It was a hunter, all right, and a veteran at that. But it was no fiend that did him in. Only a random bolt of lightning.
Such a senseless way to die. They say that he expended his last soul cells during Zoralja's attack on the city.
Oh, but lovely. More reason to be pissed off at Zoralja.
For an upright, hard-working man to meet such an unceremonious end, it feels wrong.
But we'll be fine, won't we? Even if the system no longer erases our memory of the departed, the regulators continue to function. I shan't go before my time. Growing old and passing peacefully with the help of the ushers is only natural.
Well, you may think so, but how are we to know? We have no memory of those who have gone. More may have met violent deaths than passed from old age, and we would be blissfully unaware. It could happen to you, or me, to any of us.
Then what are we to do? Spend every waking moment thinking only of how we might die?
With time, I had hoped that they'd be able to adjust to their new situation. But it's only gotten worse.
Look! It's Queen Sphene!
Wait, what? That's not possible. I defeated her myself. I was there. I even plan to fight the EX fight.
What?
Help, Queen Sphene! The grown-ups are really upset, and I don't know what to do!
I see that you are as kind-hearted as ever, Nico. Never fear. I'm here to set things aright.
I don't understand. Sphene is gone. Forever.
Yeah, we deleted her.
You there, Gusson. You were the Queen's aide, weren't you? What's the meaning of this?
Begging your pardon, Vow of Resolve. But Her Majesty Queen Sphene is paying visit to her people, as is her wont.
What are you talking about? Sphene is dead. You officiated the funeral yourself. We all placed flowers to mourn her passing.
Even he didn't feel...
A funeral? For Her Majesty?
The device. Remember, they were all given the devices.
What a curious jest. You know full well that ceremony was to commemorate those lives lost during the attack of Alexandria.
I thought maybe he might pick up the mantle of villain, but no. Even he was devastated by it, and it seems that even his memory is being manipulated. He's just another puppet.
Her Majesty walks among her people that she might support them in this most trying of times. Surely that is not cause for consternation.
This is definitely going to cause problems, but...
Your Majesty, won't you free us from these terrible memories of the departed?
And everyone who attended the funeral was given those black devices. Something...
This is no way to live. Not for us, nor our children.
I wish that I could. Truly I do. But with living memory shut down, even I cannot restore the system that once afforded us that comfort.
That's interesting. Yeah, like she said, with living memory is shut down. All the Endless are gone. The data for the Endless are gone. It did hint that her crown was still there, but I guess she could be stored there instead of others, which might also explain why they were able to partially restore some of the data, but...
You needn't fret, however. I have prepared an alternate solution. All of us shall be made endless.
Wait, what? Remember, the Endless requires being dead.
I have created a new system that allows you to transplant your memories directly into an ethereal vessel. One not reliant upon soul cells. This way, you need never again fear death. You may live as you please, and for as long as you like. Our stores of ether are, at present, not sufficient to provide this boon to everyone. But some of you received neo-regulators for the funeral ceremony, did you not? And there are still more we have yet to distribute. 5,000 in all. One day soon, those with neo-regulators will be called to join the Endless, and thence be free of suffering forevermore.
But only 5,000 of us?
You Victral! The real Sphene would never be content to save only some of her people.
That's right.
Who are you?
The whole reason Sphene... Remember, the whole reason Sphene fought us in the Interphos was because she wanted to save everyone. She tried to convince us to join because she wanted to save us as well. She never limited herself at all.
I am Sphene, the Queen of Reason.
Not only is this not Sphene, it's not the Sphene we fought. But something else is going on here. They could have simply made another Sphene with the data if it was stored in her crown, but that doesn't explain what they're doing here. Now's not the time. Yeah, now's not the time.
Let's return to the back room. I need to calm down, and then we'll talk.
Looks like they simply made another Sphene to try and replace her and sort of save everyone. It's possible Gossam was also involved with it because he couldn't even handle his own grief, and he was fine manipulating his own memories. And that's kind of the problem, though. This is a new Sphene entirely. It's not... She might have the memories of the old one, because remember, she referred to herself as Queen of Reason, which is something that had to be done with backup data. She seemed to know us as well. But she's a different Sphene completely. Regardless of whether you consider the Endless living or dead, there's no question that she's a completely separate one from the original one, the one we fought. Without the Meso Terminal, how does she propose to create a new Endless? We must contact Stola as soon as possible. You saw Sphene with your own eyes, so it wasn't something else. We've heard this Queen of Reason's proclamation. The rumors spread this district like wildfire. There's not a report yet, but we have all eyes and ears out on the Everkeep Heritage found. If Sphene was erased, if she's back, then are the Endless also? Seriously, what was that? Sphene has returned, but how? So yeah, my current theory is they simply created a new Sphene and made adjustments. Well, they had to have made some level of adjustments because, again, the one we fought wouldn't have accepted a partial victory. She wanted to save everyone, even completely ignoring that it wasn't sustainable in long term. We only caught the proclamation from a distance, but I can tell you the message about the Neo Regulators was received with utmost clarity. It couldn't have been Sphene. She would have been destroyed with when the Meso Terminal shut down. Without a single Alexandra to bear witness, presented with an identical figure claiming, 'tis no surprise they choose to believe she was alive. That's true, it could also be a fabricated version with someone else. What is troubling, however, is their denial the funeral was held in their honor, just as if their memories had been erased again. Yeah, a lot of people insisted... Erasing memories was pretty awful. I mean, some have insisted that it's not really that bad because it wasn't like they were brainwashed into believing the leaders were great when they were actually tyrants, but, nothing stops it from being used in that manner. And frankly, the only reason it didn't was because they were lucky Sphene that Zoraljaw was too dumb to use it to put everyone on his side. You know? And the Sphene wasn't the type... The old Sphene wasn't the type to abuse it. This new one, however, clearly is. Given the members of Oblivion are unaffected, it's likely the work of the Regulators, but by whose design? Someone smart enough to play at being Queen of Reason. In that guise, there's suspect deception. Yeah, it's either someone using the disguise feature to look like Sphene, or it's someone... In that case, if disguises is possible at that thing, it's also possible the gossip that we spoke to was also a fake and simply someone else in his image. Possibly even manipulated their memories into thinking they are him. We have to remember, this memory manipulation power they have is absolutely insane. Someone smart of play, and that guy is even someone suspect deception. Most of Alexandria will be on their side. Yeah, exactly. That's the dangers of memory manipulation. We need to find out who she truly is. While I agree wholeheartedly, we should avoid drawing more attention than we already have. We must be patient until Oblivion's network turns up a lead, or the self-proclaimed queen makes her next move. Alright, that's a pretty good cliffhanger. Meanwhile, over in living memory... Someone's still in here? that's the... It could be a remnant of the real Sphene, and if that's true, then that would mean we'd have to bring the two into contact to find out what's truly going on.
My people... Are they safe?
It is! This is the real... Or at least the endless Sphene that we faced before. And if true...
Why am I...
Oh, good, Stola saw her. In fear of death, the people turn to Queen Reborn, their fates to learn. Ooh. So we do at least have a remnant of the original one, which means, yeah, this fake one is either a recreation with altered memories or data, or it's someone else disguised using their data to memories to disguise her. We didn't really exactly have a chance to interrogate her, to ask her questions like what happened in living memory, since obviously only she'd know, since that could be a good way, because if their memories don't go up to living, if they don't have her memories from living memory, they could only copy up to a certain point. I mean, she'd probably know that we killed her, since, you know, that's known, but... Also, Galul should still have authority as king here, or Zoraljah specifically ensured that. Zoraljah made sure of it. Shale said she left the machine to process more data from the field station. Is it done yet? Pity Stoll is not present for Sphene's return. A cursory glance at the imposter's ether would doubtless have been enough to confirm our suspicions beyond any doubt. Though we have too little... I have the feeling Stoll learned something far more valuable by being in living memory. Though we have too little information to draw any useful conclusions yet, I dare say the Queen of Reason's behavior henceforth will be illuminating. Neo-regulators, I've heard the idea came from the citizenry, but something doesn't sit right. Yeah, the fact that she's promising something big to certain people, is she planning to steal their souls to make a weapon of some sort? Are they desperately trying to create a limited endless or something? They can't only saving the people. Then again, it could also just, like I said, it could have just been done out of desperation, and then there wasn't much of a plan beyond that point. Hey. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna say that this patch storyline has had a much better start than the main storyline. You know, not only do we get, like I said, I don't mind Wuklamad herself, I just didn't like how she was, how the story didn't give any room to breathe to anyone else, and this absolutely addressed that. We got a lot more focus on Kana and Galulja, and by extension, they're relevant. Yeah, she was there, but she's the main character of Dawntrail. Well, that's not my concern. That only makes sense. Kind of like how a lot of people found Lys and Stormblood very annoying, including me, but she kind of has to be there because she's one of the main characters of it. And like I said, I do genuinely like Sphene as a villain, so I do want to see where this comes from. I just hope it's interesting. Again, to go back to Stormblood, I'm not sure if it was just my FC or just people in general, but a lot of us were worried about the fact that Stormblood's main story ended with Yotsuyu and Gosetsu both living, when both of them seemed to have an ending to their stories in Doma Castle that seemed perfectly reasonable. Gosetsu sacrificing his life for his lord, and Yotsuyu dying because of her own insistence on cruelty. But this patch storyline did ultimately give resolution to both of those. So I guess we'll see what happens here. Alright. Guess that's gonna be all for tonight. I actually have some people tonight, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and raid out if there's anyone. Is there anyone? Looks like... Yeah, looks like, Liminal Ninja's doing some Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so if you want to stick around for that, by all means. Otherwise, until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, I'll see you later.